San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Wednesday to everybody out there in America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese. We are the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We got a lot to talk about in the sports world in San Diego. Yes, in February. Can't believe it. By the way, you would even know it's February based on the weather outside. It's beautiful, unless you're Frank, because he likes the wintertime or something. It's 75 degrees already. It's going to be a high of 84 today in America's finest city. I heard the beach is already packed.
It's illegal.
Illegal to have 84-degree weather in February?
On Cameron Maben Day of all days.
Juan Ruiz made us another meme. That's great.
Yeah,
Happy
I know.
Will Wagner
I saw
Day.
that last night.
You know what I love? I love James in Oceanside, who is Go Aztecs. I love his commitment to this bit, too.
Oh, it's
I love how
fantastic.
excited he
Yes.
is for this just as much as we are.
Happy Will Wagner Day. Happy. I
can't wait for Leif Erikson Day. Looking forward to it. Smitty Werdeman Jensen. He was number one. I dropped that the other day. Oh, I thought that was great.
Happy.
How many 30-something-year-olds are driving around getting that SpongeBob reference and chuckling in their car?
Oh, I deleted the fourth already. My bad.
Wow.
I thought it was the third.
You know what? At least you didn't spell anything wrong today. We got a lot to talk about.
That we know of.
That's true. I'm sure the chat will be on it. Where's the collages at? Instead of where the taco's at, where's the collage at? New deal. All right. Let's get to all the stuff that we have to talk about today. Aztecs basketball last night. That was a slog, huh? Not necessarily the greatest offensive performances for the Aztecs, but you know what? They went out there and they closed out the deal. They beat Wyoming, who's not very good. And they had to do it with their starters of Miles Heide and Jeremiah Odin and Reese Dixon-Waters, BJ Davis, Miles Bird. They're missing multiple players right now. And yeah, if you want to be like the diehard Aztec fan like Sam Fleming is in the chat and talk about how winning is hard. Yeah, winning is hard, but it is Wyoming.
Winning are hard.
It is Wyoming, and you played them at home. But the reality of the situation is the Aztecs don't have a lot of, they're missing 40% of their starters. Now, Reese Dixon-Waters actually played last night after he had a little bit of an ankle problem in the game against Utah State, where he wasn't really the same. But I tell you what, at least he went out there and played, and he dropped 23 points last night. So that was a positive sign. But you had no Magoon Guath. You had no LZ Harrington. You had to go out there with, the depth that you have talked about for so long. And you look at the game last night, 23 points. Reese Dixon-Waters, 12 points. Miles Bird. Those are the two players that are going to have to carry the team until Magoon comes back and until LZ Harrington's out of his walking boot. Those are the players that really need to make the stride for the Aztecs. But overall, good win. They were able to beat Wyoming. It wasn't pretty, but they won. And at this point in time, as we talked about yesterday, and as we've talked about on our updates that you'll see, the Aztecs need to make it through these next 5 games, now next 4, unscathed, and then go 2-1 in the 3 quad 1 games. And then at that point, they don't have to really worry about the Mountain West tournament. They probably have to win at least 1 game still. But if you want to be in conversation to win the Mountain West Conference outright at the end of the regular season, these next 4 games for the Aztecs are very important. They're against lower level competition, and the 2 teams that are good that are in these next 4, you get to play at home. They got to go play Air Force coming up on Saturday. So that's going to be a game that's, again, a slog of a game. Air Force is not good. We've talked about them in the past. We talked about what they have to deal with in this era of NIL and the fact that they can't pay any players. I mean, they're not a good basketball team. Aztecs need to dominate. Aztecs need to dominate. As of right now, they're 45 in the net. They're 1-4 in quad 1 games. They're 3-1 in quad 2. They're 6-1 in quad 3, and they're perfect 5-0 in quad 4. Looking at the next 4 games on the list, at Air Force on Saturday. Then they got Nevada and Grand Canyon at home. That's an important home stretch where the crowd needs to get into it. And then a tough road trip at Colorado State, but a team that you were able to handle here at Viejas Arena. And then after that, you got the 3 games that are the most important on your schedule to make the NCAA tournament: Utah State, at New Mexico, and at Boise State. Defense played well last night. Wyoming again is 103 in the net. They're not very good. So I'm sure the Aztecs probably lost a little bit on their metrics, but overall, you need to win those games. Let's talk about San Diego FC. San Diego FC, that looks like they're going to be fine, Frank. San Diego FC.
Yeah, they're going to be all right.
They're going to be okay. Again, the whole purpose of the conversation that we had yesterday is that San Diego FC and how they come into the season, this is a year that's last year wasn't a fluke and we caught everybody by surprise. We are an established soccer team. We are going to be a team that's competing year in and year out. We are going to be a team that is near the top of the MLS. And yes, it's fun to win tournaments. And yes, this tournament is fun and important for San Diego FC from a international standpoint. But if they were to get smacked last night, which they didn't, there was going to be no need for panic, which was the whole point of the conversation. But San Diego FC, hey, they put 4 goals up in what was that? In 18 minutes?
17 minutes.
17 minutes.
And the goal scorers, 20 years old, 19 years old, 23 years old, 19 years old.
Yeah, phenomenal.
A youth explosion on the pitch last night. And apparently one that really shook Pumas, because I saw, I don't have the tweet up in front of me anymore, unfortunately, but it was 2.5 hours after the game, and Pumas still had not left. Like, they had not left the locker room. They had not gone out for interviews post-game. They were there for a while after that. So you stung them quite a bit with that win.
Yeah, that was the team that hadn't lost all year.
Yeah.
They had already played multiple games. They had played 4 games under their belt before San Diego FC even played a game. And by the way, San Diego FC, 65 days or 63 days between their last game last season and their first game this season. So they get to play Pumas again. That's going to come up on February 10th. That's going to be down in Mexico at Estadio Olímpico Universitario. And that game will be at 5 o'clock on the 10th for a chance for San Diego FC to advance in the CONCACAF Champions Cup.
You just have to avoid losing that game 3-0, because they do have an away goal that will count more, as I very clearly explained yesterday.
Yeah, very clearly.
Yes.
Frank explaining the away goals was just like his spelling.
Just don't lose by 3. That's all you need to focus on right now. Do not lose by 3.
That'd be a tough spelling bee. Frank spelling something and then asking for a definition from Frank, trying to explain the away goal system. It was not, you know what? Yesterday was not a good day for you. It's okay. Flush it and move on.
I knew what I was trying to say. My mouth would not let me say it.
There you go. San Diego FC won't start their MLS regular season until February 21st when they play Montreal. And they will play that right here at Snapdragon Stadium. So that will be the next home game that San Diego FC has on February 21st. All right, on to the Padres now. Now, the Padres have had a couple of different news things come out. We're going to start with the one that came out right now, and they put out their non-roster invitee list. Okay? They put out their non-roster invitee list. They got guys like Tristan McKenzie on that list, to nobody's surprise. They have Marco Gonzalez on that list, to no one's surprise. Ethan Salas is on that list, really to nobody's surprise. And then they have a couple of outfielders on there. Nick Solak, infield outfielder, on the list. Logan Gillespie, right-handed pitcher.
Should we just go through the list?
I don't want to go through all of them. Most of these people, not a lot will know. Omar Cruz, Jackson Wolf, a couple left-handers that get brought back as a non-roster invitee. I mean, there might be somebody on here.
Logan Gillespie, who is we've seen him.
there might be somebody on that list that makes this team and turns into Gavin Sheets. It's possible. But the non-roster invitee list has been posted now. Adam Klug's right. Acuna will be joining the Padres at spring training. Just not that Acuna.
Francisco
Acuna, who plays in the infield.
Francisco, that's fun to say.
Francisco. Nice. Love the elf reference. So that was one of them. Now, the other news, of course, which happened last night, involves the San Diego Padres and their ownership group. And the report last night from Dennis Lin, and then re-reported again today by Kevin Acee, was Shield Seidler dropped most claims in lawsuit challenging control of the Padres. That happened. And it sounds like the family is getting all of their ducks in a row. It really does. It sounds like they have determined, they have reached an agreement on their own terms. They don't have to continue the pursuit in court. They have worked their differences out for at least the entity that involves the San Diego Padres. And to me, I find this to be news that sets up what could be more news coming down the pipeline. And in order to get to the next news, you really had to solidify all of your differences, right? The team talked about in November they were pursuing it wasn't that they were seeking a sale. They were looking, they're putting their feelers out there to see if, the team would be sold. That's what the wording was. But in order to actually sell, you'd have to be on the right page. And so what the lawsuit, or should I say now the drop of the lawsuit tells me, it tells me there's something on the horizon. And we'll talk about that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. College football playoffs stuck at 12 teams in 2026, and the power struggle is the real story. Despite all 10 conference commissioners and Notre Dame preferring playoff expansion, the college football playoff will remain at 12 teams in 2026. As we mentioned before, the official explanation is that another year of evaluation is needed. Sure. The explanation is widely viewed as cover, not cause. The real reason, the Big Ten versus the SEC. Nearly 2 years ago, the Big Ten and the SEC seized full control over the future of the college football playoff format. They demanded authority, received it, and now they can't agree on what to do with it. The Big Ten wants a 24-team playoff, multiple automatic bids for power conferences, and play-in games. The SEC wants 16-team playoff, 5 automatic bids for conference champions, and 11 at-large teams. The remaining 8 conferences overwhelmingly support the SEC's 16-team model, but they no longer have a vote. The result, total control, zero progress, and industry sentiment is blunt. They wrestled the power away and fumbled it. It's disgusting, this ego-driven gridlock. I couldn't agree more with those conversations. I'm a big component of the 2014 playoff. I know you've heard me rant about this multiple times. Both conferences have their own agendas. Neither conference wants to give up their power. They think they run college football, and instead of making progress and advancing with everybody, they're just doing their own thing. This sounds a lot like politics.
If this happens again next year, if I'm the NCAA, I'm looking at the Big 12 and the ACC going, all right, they can't figure it out. What do you guys want to do?
Yeah,
That would be my guess, is if you have 2 power entities that can't figure out what to do under one governing body, I'm sorry, it's up to the governing body to then take control and say, listen, we gotta make a decision here. We gotta make it soon. I don't understand how a 2014 playoff, especially when everybody, including Notre Dame, agreed. I don't understand how it didn't get changed this year.
Yeah, well, it's some people are on 16, some are on 24. The Big Ten was like, we'll go to 16 if you agree to go to 24 later. I'm sure there's TV contract policies that are put in there as well as incentives. But they did change some things, and here's what changes. Automatic bids in 2026. All Power 4 conference champions get automatic bids, even if it's ranked outside the top 12. Highest ranked group of 6 team gets an automatic bid, even if they didn't win their conference. Which, by the way, everybody left this meeting had no idea that was in the rules. and Notre Dame automatically gets an at-large bid if it finishes as the top 12. Why is this problematic? Well, if you used the 2025 final college football playoff rankings as a test case for next year, Miami, who made the national championship, wouldn't have even been in the playoff. BYU would have been out. Duke would have been in, who won the ACC unranked, and Tulane would have been in as the highest-ranked group of 6 team, not necessarily a champion, even though they did win their championship. So, yes, top 10 teams could miss the playoff, while lower-ranked or unranked teams get in because of automatic qualifiers. That's not expansion fairness. That's Frankenstein football. I'm telling you, do what the FCS does. It's so simple, but there's too much money involved and too many organizations that are greedy, that don't want to do what's best for college football. They want to do what's best for themselves.
My friend is also very adamant on this. Just have the top 24. Just run the top 24 out there. Whoever it is, just have the top 24 run out there as well. I mean, it's so absurd, and especially that group of 6 rule. That's just awful. Like, come on, we gotta make sure everyone knows what the heck is going on, and also a lot of this conference rules are changing as well as far as who gets in the conference championship game. So tiebreakers are being changed. The ACC model, which got Duke into that game in the first place, is being changed. So that alleviates some of the problem.
They keep changing until they get to the teams that they actually want in the playoff. So it's so dumb about the playoff. I need automatic qualifiers for every conference in Division I. Otherwise, what's the point of being a Division I school? They may as well make the change. Do what the FCS does. It's simple.
Agree,
conference
100%.
champions are in, and then you have a bunch of at-large teams. It's going to play itself out. It's the only format that is actually fair for college football. Now, here's the bigger picture. 2026 playoff ends on January 25th, 2027 in Las Vegas. That is the latest title game ever. Mm-hmm. January 25th is when the championship game is. There is a difference between 38 days between the first round of the playoff and the national championship game. This is a 1-year contract extension only on the 12-team playoff. The Big Ten and the SEC must decide the 2027 format by December 1st, 2026, which, by the way, is a deadline before they even see how the 2026 playoff works, which is also stupid. Non-playoff bowls are left hanging. Sponsors face uncertainty. The sport continues drifting towards 2-conference domination, which is not great for the sport. It is great for those 2 conferences, though. We could spend an entire podcast on this, but that is your update on the college football playoff that we got from last week. Broadcasting live at the Bill House Studios, we know how. I want to mention that all guests on 97 through the Fan join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. All right. So we had some Padres news come down last night. Dennis Lynn reporting that the Seidler family had come to an agreement without having used the court system, as Shiel Seidler has dropped the lawsuit against the Seidler brothers in what has been, in my opinion, a kind of getting everything in order, if you will, for what could possibly be the next move for the San Diego Padres in terms of a new ownership. Because the Padres in November had pursued a sale, potentially. They were looking to potentially sell the team, put the feelers out there. And in the midst of that, of course, there was the feud between Shiel Seidler and the brothers that came about last year. And then, as we mentioned, that was going to take a year, maybe more, of litigation. And it leads into, again, the sale that the team wanted to pursue in November, which has now led us to what could be an official sale now, because both of these, I wouldn't say entities, but the Seidler family has made an agreement on stuff. And I think that needed to happen in order for them to eventually get a sale. So what this tells me that there should be news coming about a new ownership group for the Padres. Now, who that's going to be, who's to say? I've heard some names on the rumor mill. I've heard some conversations about how it's been kind of progressing over the last couple of months or so, and certain people have met with the Padres and what have you. But as of right now, we don't have any news on that. Now, the only thing, and this was reported by Kevin Acee today in his article, about the only name that has been publicly listed is Joe LaCobe. Joe LaCobe is the principal owner of the NBA's Golden State Warriors. He is the only publicly known suitor. LaCobe met with the Padres and their officials in San Diego last week. Two league sources said the group he heads is the leading suitor. Others involved in the process characterized that as not accurate. But he is the only public name that has been thrown out there. But what this tells me is they're close to a sale. And I would not be surprised if that comes sooner rather than later. And it might just be they had to clean up some litigation. They might be, very close to getting all, because there's all the documents and everything that needs to go about this, and lawyers and everything like that. But it sounds like we might be entering the new chapter for the San Diego Padres in terms of the ownership group of this team. So when looking at some of the details of this particular article from Dennis Lin and Kevin Acee, the interesting name, of course, is Joe LaCobe, who comes in as the only public name that we have seen. They have done a really good, as always with the Padres, they've done a really good job of keeping this thing under wraps. Just like a lot of the moves that they make, right? They keep a lot of this stuff under wraps. So I look at what happened with this article from last night, and I just think the next step has to be the sale of a team. So here's exactly what was laid out in the articles yesterday and this morning from Kevin Acee and Dennis Lin. Dennis Lin reported it last night. Sheil Seidler, who is the widow of former Padres owner Peter Seidler, filed a lawsuit in January 2025 against Peter's brothers, Matthew and Robert Seidler, over management of the Peters Trust. The claims included breach of fiduciary duty, withholding trust income, contention over control of the Padres, specifically objecting to John Seidler's appointment as trustee and control person. Now, the court filing, which happened in Texas, in Travis County, in February of this year, Shield dismissed almost all claims except breach of duty to distribute trust assets and demand for accounting, which doesn't have to do with the Padres. Remaining claims are ongoing. Dismissed claims cannot be refiled. Terms of settlement remain undisclosed. Now, the Padres ownership context. John Seidler, eldest brother, now trustee of Peters Trust and control person of the Padres since 2025. Shiel Seidler and 3 of her children hold 24% of ownership stake, largest single stake. Peter's family, the siblings' mother, Therese, who is deceased, own 20%, and 8 to 10 other stakeholders remaining 56%. Padres financial valuation, according to these articles, Forbes listed them at $1.95 billion. Recent internal estimates have them at $2.5 billion plus, based on comparable MLB sales. Now, the Padres are exploring a sale, which was announced in November of 2025. And as I mentioned before, Joe LaCobe, owner of the Golden State Warriors, is publicly a known suitor. Now, team executives are presenting financials to prospective buyers. Resolution of the Shiel side of the lawsuit removes legal uncertainty, making the franchise more attractive for sale. Industry sources speculate price is well above $2 billion. So a couple of things to unpack from that again. Now, with the ownership group situation, I think they have found a potential buyer that they want to sell to. And I think they're close to doing this. And I also think that they went in and hashed out all the differences in order to put this behind them and then sell the team. Now, if the valuation by Forbes, I think it's going to be more. than the 1.95 based on how other teams are selling in Major League Baseball. If somebody is spending, here's where it gets into the next owner, too. I mean, Joe LaCobe's the only guy that we have known publicly. There might be somebody else out there. There might be a couple suitors out there. Sounds like the Padres find that LaCobe being a leader, they disagree with. So, but that's the only public name that we have. With this and a sale of like $2 billion, the thing that needs to and this is where I'm going with this. The people that buy MLB teams now have to have the money where this isn't their only entity to make money. Like this isn't like before where you get a cheap owner. There's with the prices of teams now, there's no such thing as a cheap owner. There just isn't. The cheap owners are the owners that inherit the team from family members before them who bought the team a long time ago and their only wealth is the team. Those are the cheap owners in professional sports, not the ones that are dropping $2 billion to own a baseball team. So as everybody is sitting here going like, well, Peter Seidler and the Seidler family and this ownership group's the only ownership group in reality, really much one of the only ownership groups during the Padres history to put all this money into the team. The fear is with them leaving, the new owner might not do that. The people that have $2 billion to spend on a sports franchise have the kind of money they're not doing it as like a little investment spot. They're doing it to buy a team to try to win. A lot of these guys want to win. It's like they're bored. This is like something for them to do to entertain them. And as noted, the Padres have said that they want to have whoever runs the new team, live out Peter Seidler's legacy and all that stuff. But here's the other thing too. You know what the new owner is not going to do? The new owner is not going to alienate himself by stripping payroll and flipping the organization. They're also not going to move the team either. I mean, all of these things that always get circled out there for new ownership groups, when you are the new owner, you come in, you want to be loved by the fan base. Otherwise, it's going to get off to a rough start. So I got a feeling that a sale is near. I got a feeling the Padres know who they're selling to. And I got a feeling that we might have more news on that in the next, I don't know, very soon. I would say soon, more than anything else. So interesting stuff last night. But what I do know is I think you could trust in the Padres that they're not leaving. And I think you could trust in the Padres that the new owner is going to continue to spend money. I think they're looking to find that. You don't have to. You don't have to. Potentially, you don't have to fear that the Padres are going to strip down the team, because I don't think that's going to be the case. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. And the report about Joe LaCobe was going to, move the team to Oakland or why would you move a team to Oakland and build your own state? You don't have that kind of money. We'll probably get more information on this as it continues. We continue on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. If you want to If you want to sum up the University of San Diego right now, it's heart, it's fight, and it's razor-thin margins. In the span of 1 week, the Toreros pulled off a miraculous overtime comeback at Pepperdine and then suffered a brutal overtime collapse at home against Oregon State. Same team, same week, two wildly different endings. The high point was Pepperdine. Let's start with in Malibu, because that win said a lot about this team. They were down 9 with under 5 minutes left. Tyler Johnson fouled out, who we talked about last week, is carrying the team offensively for this Toreros offense. And ESPN Analytics gave USD a 6% chance to win And then what happened? Tenari Lane, he went nuclear. Season high, 21 points, multiple clutch threes late, and in overtime. Asan Diop puts up an absolute monster line, 21 points, 17 boards, 9 for 10 shooting, 5 Cerullo score in double figures. USD executes overtime near perfectly. That's not luck. That's toughness. That's a team that believes even when the numbers say you're cooked. But then Saturday happened. The gut punch against Oregon State. They come up to Saturday. They're up 10 points with 128 left at home. Game is basically in your hands, and then it slips away. Oregon State hits 3 straight threes. USD commits 20 turnovers. Momentum flips. Even with Adrian McIntyre scoring 11 straight in overtime, it's not enough, and it hurts you even more in the standings because it was right there. USD did a lot right. They won the rebounding battle. They held Oregon State to 40% shooting. They got rim protection from Tim Moore Jr. and his 5 blocks. But the late game execution, that's the difference between climbing the standings and staying stuck. And you're trying to play for buys and multiple buys in the West Coast Conference tournament. And Oregon State is a direct competitor. Now, you still get to play Oregon State one more time in Corvallis. But, Frank, this is a tough loss on Saturday after what was a very thrilling win in Malibu earlier last week.
Yeah, I got to watch a little bit of that game while I was preparing for UCSD versus CSUN. And that just looked so brutal, so painful, that loss against Oregon State, because the game was in your hands. You're up. I looked with you're up 8 with 50 seconds to go. I turn around and you're going to overtime. I'm like, that's insane. The turnaround there. But then again, you had the big comeback win against Pepperdine. You go into overtime against them and pull it off. It's a wild, Jekyll and Hyde week for the Toreros men's basketball side.
Yeah, and the scary part is, of course, with Oregon State, the loss to Oregon State. I mean, you're sitting now at 4-7 at West Coast Conference play. You could be 5-6 right now, and right out of a spot to have not only a day off Thursday, but even a day off Friday, and maybe even a day off on Saturday, because everybody is so close. Right now, you're in 9th place, and in 9th place, you're the first team. You're the last team in the group, first team to not get a bye in the West Coast Conference tournament. You're right now playing on Thursday, but it's tightly packed between 5th and 10th. I mean, a couple of wins can swing some things, and all of a sudden, instead of playing on Thursday of the West Coast Conference tournament, you're playing on Saturday. Or maybe you're playing on Friday, and that all adds up when you are going through the West Coast Conference tournament and then eventually having to run into a team like Santa Clara or St. Mary's or Gonzaga. You want to play them with as fresh of legs as possible. And right now, with that loss, San Diego finds himself with the hardest path through the West Coast Conference tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you're coming up and you're playing St. Mary's at St. Mary's coming up this week. No pressure in that game. You can only supersede expectations going up against St. Mary's, and it's a great test to try to see what you got for the rest of this conference schedule.
Yeah, you only have to play St. Mary's once in conference play. You're knocking off the list. This was one of the games during your remaining games of the season that you expect that they're going to lose, right? From a fan perspective, obviously the team's not thinking that. So a loss up there is not going to kill you. It's a quad 1 game. It's a quad 1 opportunity. St. Mary's is very, very good, but they have to be able to answer after that. They got to play Oregon State well, and then they play the bottom of the schedule. They play LMU twice, who's behind him in the standings, and Portland twice, who's also behind him in the standings. 1 game against USF, 1 game against Oregon State. That is where you make your hay to try to play yourself out of Thursday. Now for women's basketball, they are competing through adversity. They're dealing with a lot of different things in terms of challenges than the men's team. They're trying to survive without key players, but they're still competing. They hung tough at first place Oregon State before shooting dried up. Then at Portland, freshman Olivia Owens dropped a career-high 27 points. USD rebounded its way into the game. Fourth quarter lead slips away. We have seen that time and time again for the women's basketball program, but they're getting better. They're just coming up a little bit short, but they have a chance too to play out of Thursday with the way that the standings are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a fighting team. This is a group of fighters rebounding with the best teams in the West Coast Conference, young players growing up fast under a first-year head coach. So now they get the chance to play some home games, and it really matters being able to come home to the Jenny Craig Pavilion and get some games in front of your home crowd.
They're so close, and hopefully next week we're talking about more wins when it comes to San Diego. Braden Surprenant show on a Wednesday. We got the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. We haven't talked about that at all. We'll talk about that later. Today's show. We were going to get to it yesterday. I ran out of time. But as reported, again, sounds like the Seidler family have settled some differences on the feud about the control of the Padres, which I think is leading to a potential sale of the Padres. So what is that potentially going to look like? Well, according to Kevin Acee, Joe LaCobe has been the only name that has been publicly listed. Sportico has just put out an article about Jose Feliciano and Dan Friedkin, both billionaire owners of Premier League clubs that are interested in buying the Padres, according to multiple people familiar with the process. That's what Sportico is reporting. But from the local reporters, it sounds like Joe LaCobe was the only public name at the time. So I'm sure you're going to get a lot more reports now with entities that might be interested in buying the Padres. I think you're going to get a lot of reports on the Padres selling. I think you're going to get a lot of reports on how this plays out for the San Diego Padres in terms of getting a new ownership group. I think you're going to get a lot of new Padres sell articles and reports and updates because of the fact that I think this is the smoke that shows that there's fire when it comes to the Padres selling. Now, it's interesting to see like how this could potentially lead to the Padres with a new ownership group. I think at this point, and with some of the names that are now being listed as they're now starting to come out because I think the Padres are close to selling. The names of the people that are potentially in line to buy the Padres have a ton of money because you have to be that type of person and have that kind of wealth in order to buy a professional franchise in this day and age. And it's going to completely lock out a lot of people that would be, as a lot of fans dislike, cheap owners. I think they're priced out. I think you're going to only get people that are serious about running a franchise at a high level, especially with the asking price of $2.5 billion. I mean, the names of some of the people that are now starting to trickle out are guys that and groups that have a lot of money. And with that, that's a lot of money to spend. And the other thing, too, it makes no logical sense to pay $2 billion for an asset and then strip it down for parts and then lose hundreds of millions immediately. Sam is on it in the chat. It's 100% true. That makes no business sense. And the other thing about this is these people that have made this kind of money make good business decisions. A bad business decision would be moving the team to Oakland. A bad business decision would be stripping the entire team down and starting over when you have something built here that makes money and something built here that people support. They might change some things on the margins, but I'm telling you, I think this is going to be a good thing for the San Diego Padres. And I think the Seidler family is the group that got the Padres to that next level. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Kevin in Chula Vista wants to weigh in. Kevin, what's going on?
Yeah, thanks, Braden. Interesting developments today, no doubt about it. You know, who knows what's going on behind the scenes? I think you hit the nail on the head. The Padres do a fantastic job at keeping secrets. They should teach the government a thing or two, frankly. So having said that, my hope is that if it is possible for any kind of clause in a new ownership agreement that comes along would in fact somehow protect and cement the Padres here to San Diego and leave no doubt that they're going to stay here. And I'm not sold on this Oakland thing. A owner could come in here. There are a number of cities, as you well know, aching for a Major League Baseball team and will do practically anything to get one. That's my concern. It's not Oakland. It's all of the others. So I don't know if that's possible. Maybe some of the legal beagles that are out there can weigh in on this, but I just want to see the franchise in the city protected for as long as possible under whatever legal circumstances are necessary to cement them here. And that will then, I think, take away a lot of concerns about not just Oakland, but there's a lot of other cities out there that are looking for baseball teams. So that's it in a nutshell. And then I'll finish up with this. I think trying to connect the dots here, this is why we don't see a contract for AJ at this point. And yeah, I didn't believe for 1 second anything AJ said the other day. I think there's plenty of time and was plenty of time to negotiate agreement from the day the season ended right up until the winter baseball meetings. We were told something was imminent. It never happened. I think connecting the dots here, I don't think it's too far off. I think you're hitting the nail on the head. The sale of the team might be imminent, and it's going to be very difficult to have a president, general manager of baseball ops connected to the last ownership under contract for untold millions of dollars when you have a sale pending. That's just the way I see it right now.
Kevin, appreciate the phone call. I'm going to squash the movement conversation for a couple of reasons. One, they have a lease with the city of San Diego and Petco Park. I'm sure when that lease is up at a certain point, they could probably, that scares some people, but that's number one. Number two with this, they are high in attendance. And not only is that dumb from the owner's perspective of having to do that, but it's also dumb for Major League Baseball. And Major League Baseball won't allow it because it wouldn't make any sense for Major League Baseball to take an asset out of a town that has a beautiful ballpark, that is a great place to be, and that has a fan base that shows up every single day. That makes no sense. Why would Major League Baseball do that? Unless you're just thinking about it from a pessimistic standpoint of things. There are so many other teams that don't have a world-class facility, that don't have fans showing up, that don't make money, and can be moved. And here's everybody talking about the Chargers moving. The Chargers didn't have a building to play in. That was the excuse. There are no excuses for the Padres. They have the best ballpark in Major League Baseball. They're number one in sellouts in Major League Baseball. They show that small market organizations can compete at a high level. Major League Baseball is not going to allow you to move that. Why would they do that? If that's the case, you might as well start moving all these other teams. Start moving them. Why don't you move the Giants? You should move the Giants. Move them to Oakland. Move them somewhere else.
And that's another thing, too. Like, we heard a lot about Tampa Bay possibly moving to, like, say, Nashville. They have an agreement on a new building now. There's no more conversation around moving.
Yeah, they have the building.
When organizations are planning on moving or are trying to leverage moving, they're doing it because they want a new ballpark and they don't want to pay for it. They're trying to get the city that they play in to pay for it. That's why the Marlins had issues. That's why Tampa Bay has had issues. That's why the Chargers had issues. I saw someone mention the Supersonics. That's why they had issues, is because they want their cities to build them new stadiums, and they'll say, fine, we'll just pack up and leave if you don't want to do it. That's where a lot of these relocation arguments center around, is not having a place to play and wanting the city to fit the bill for their new place to play.
Yeah, it's all about the venue. That's it. It's all about the venue. That's all it really is. And the Padres have a venue. And until Petco Park turns into a pile of crap, which I don't think it will, because I think the city of San Diego and the Padres have done an excellent job of keeping that place the number one ballpark in the United States. They're not moving. The only, when you think about, as Frank mentioned, when you think about teams that move, when you think about teams that move cities, it's all about their stadium. That's what it's about. Unless they are just absolutely not drawing any type of fans. But even then, in this day and age now, that's kind of hard to do. And most of the time, when organizations don't draw, they don't have a good building either. Why don't they move the Pirates? They don't have a good draw. Oh, I don't know why. Because they got a great ballpark. Should move the Pirates. Somebody should buy the Pirates and move them. They don't have great numbers. They play in Pittsburgh. It's like, oh, they don't need a baseball team. I mean, you can make that argument about anybody. The Padres are not moving. I don't care who the new owner is. They're not going to move because it would be catastrophically bad for baseball for the Padres to move out of San Diego. I mean, owners could do whatever they want, right? And they could do that. But if you're Major League Baseball, does it make any sense, Frank, from a MLB perspective,
No, not at all.
to move the Padres out of San Diego?
Not at all.
It makes no sense. It doesn't make sense from an owner standpoint unless you're super arrogant and you just want to live in a certain city and you want to spend a ton of money just to spend money. But it makes no sense. It makes no sense. I mean, they have a great ballpark. They're in a great city here in San Diego. They're the only massive, and they're the only major sport of the big four in town. There's not a lot of cities like that for Major League Baseball. And it's a place that they host a ton of events at.
And also, I mean, you look at, do you not think other leagues look at the success that San Diego FC has had at drawing a crowd? Granted, the team, the way they played is a big part of that. But you don't think that Major League Baseball is looking at the crowds that San Diego FC is drawing for the MLS, which is, quote unquote, the fifth most popular sports league in the country? You guys fill that stadium every single week. Every league notices that. There would never be a situation where you are filling buildings in every other sport, including baseball, and then move the baseball team. There's no shot that would ever be allowed to happen.
No shot. Absolutely no shot. It doesn't make any sense. So that from that perspective, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think honestly, the whole point of this is to tell the Padres fans there's nothing to fear. I think it's going to be only great. I think it's only going to be good. Because if you want to go back again to the Chargers moving, the Chargers moved because they couldn't get a new stadium built here, and Dean Spanos didn't want to pay for it himself. That's the bottom line. That's the reason why they left.
That's why the Islanders almost moved off of Long Island, is because they didn't want to. They wanted Nassau County to pay for the renovations on the Nassau Coliseum. They ended up going to the Barclays Center. That's why they moved, because the building. That's why.
Same thing with the Coyotes.
Yes, they couldn't get a building.
Couldn't get a new building.
They played in a college arena.
They played at Arizona State. Oh man, I'm telling you, I just think if there's more buyers that are coming out, which sounds like there might be, of names coming out that are interested in buying the Padres, who I'm sure have been meeting with the Padres, and we don't have any of this confirmed. Obviously, there's been some reports from Kevin Acee and Dennis Lin, but I'm telling you, it's only going to be good coming out of this, I think, because you're getting to a point now in sports where buying a team costs a lot of money, and the ones that do it are serious about winning.
You're not going to move the Clippers back to San Diego. Why? Because they just got a new building.
They have a building. That's the only reason why anybody moves, is because of a building. This is not the 1970s anymore. The thing that scares Padres fans is the fact that they don't want the team to go back to sucking, and they don't want the team to move. Those are valid.
Yes,
those are
100% valid fears.
But they are, I think, irrational fears now. I think the Padres moving is an irrational fear. They're not going to leave San Diego.
No, their success, their ballpark, what this city has made them into. Like I said, this is the way that we cover this team It's NFL level. And everyone always says no one touches an NFL market. The way we cover the Padres is NFL level. There is no way that Major League Baseball or an owner buying this team is going to move the ballpark. Is going to move the team. No shot.
Moving the ballpark would be very difficult.
That would be impressive.
That's a modern marvel.
If they move the ballpark, I would be impressed. I wouldn't even be mad at that point. You'd have to be impressed.
I mean, you could talk about like Joe LaCobe as much as you want, because he's been according to Kevin Acey's piece, and who knows, it might have been updated already with the Sportico information. But with him, he's won multiple championships in the NBA. Wasn't afraid to spend money in the Golden State Warriors and all the moves that they have made in the past. I mean, look at his they've won the NBA Finals 5 times under LaCobe. That guy's not buying a team to just collect. He already owns another team. Mm-hmm. You almost want an owner that already owns another team because they're in the business of like trying to win at that point in time. I don't think they're going to try to like use one team to prop up the other one. But I'm telling you, they're not moving. They have a lease here in San Diego with Petco Park. I just feel like it gets to the people that just want to doom about it. So I'm telling you, there's a lot of irrational fear with this. But the whole conversation about this was, I think the Padres are about to sell because they got all their outside dealings taken care of. That's what I took away from that article last night, Frank.
Yeah, and I'm seeing it in the chat. Leases can be broken all the time, guys.
Now you're trying to.
Yeah, you're trying manifesting.
You're manifesting it to happen because you want it to happen. You so don't want it to happen, but you want it to happen to show that you're right and you want to be miserable. That's not what we're doing here.
No, we're being realistic here. There is no world with the Padres on the trajectory that they are on, with the quality of their team, the ballpark, which there have been no qualms about. They're not talking about getting a new one. They're not talking about moving. There is absolutely no pretense to this other than an article that was written because someone needed to write an article. There is no pretense to a move, period.
Owners don't care about San Diego, but they care about Nashville. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. The funny thing is, every argument that somebody has put in the chat of why it's possible the Padres can move is every argument that you can say the Chargers should just move back to San Diego. It's all the same stuff.
Again, there's no pretense to this. Someone threw it out there because they were trying to get attention, and now it's taken off. It's taken off playing on the fears of what San Diego fans had with the Chargers.
Yeah, stop it.
That's all it is.
Stop it.
Someone threw out an idea out of thin air because they needed something for an article deadline.
Again, and all the arguments that people are bringing up don't understand that that's all because of a facility. Are we saying Petco Park is not good enough? Is that what we're saying? It's crazy to me. Like some of the thought process of some of these comments right now about no, they're not leaving.
UCLA just signed a lease and they're backing out of it. No one goes to the Rose Bowl. It's an hour away from campus.
It's a stadium issue. It's all stadium issues. I remember I said, like, the Chargers, they might be able to, maybe they can move down to San Diego, whatever. Remember what the first person said? They have a lease that they signed. That lease is $1. And now the conversation is like, leases can be broken. Stop it. I'm arguing with a wall. They're not going to move to it. What bigger market needs a baseball team right now? I'm telling you, it's not. There's no Major League Baseball is not going to allow it.
Off to Salt Lake City for you.
Yeah, exactly. Because Salt Lake City is a bigger market than San Diego. Give me a break. It's the people that were burned by the Chargers and now freaking out about a new ownership sale. We have to change gears on this. We've talked about this too long. People are freaking out. Let's talk about the 30 teams in 30 days. We got the Red Sox guy on. Yeah, please tell me it's not true. Go Aztecs in the YouTube chat. Hot stove. We might have to address that later. I'm telling you, but the national media sometimes just wants the Padres to just be the farm system of other teams. Trade Tatis Machado. Are you kidding me, dude? Just enough. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We are broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2. Let's take a quick break from the Padres news that we got earlier today to continue our 30 teams in 30-ish days. Today, we're focused on the Boston Red Sox staying in the AL East as Mac Cerullo will join us. He is from the Boston Herald. He is a Boston Herald writer, covers the Red Sox. He has been a Red Sox beat reporter for the Boston Herald since 2023, covered the New England Patriots for 4 years as a sports editor for the Daily News of Newburyport. He is a graduate from Boston University's journalism program and also spent 4 years at UConn. He joins me on the Braden Surprenant Show. Mac, what's going on?
It's going well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks again for taking the time. We really appreciate it. Let's talk about the Boston Red Sox a little bit, a place that the Padres will be visiting coming up in the first weekend of April to do their, be part of their their interleague games. But let's talk about the Red Sox and kind of the offseason that they had, invested in their starting rotation a little bit, built it up. But overall, how do you think the Boston Red Sox handled a lot of the holes that they needed to fix before going into the 2026 season?
So it's interesting. I would say that they've certainly had an active offseason, and I would say that it's incomplete. This team still has some clear needs, some clear log jams they have to clear. And all things considered, I do think this year's team should be well positioned to compete for a playoff berth this year. But it's hard to imagine this team quite reaching its full potential unless they get another infielder and figure out what they're going to do with their outfield. Because right now they've got 5 starting caliber guys and only 4 spots in the lineup to accommodate them. And I guess it's a good problem to have, but ideally you want all your best players on the field every day, obviously. So we shall see. But the pitching is going to be outstanding. I think that's a clear upgrade, what they've been able to do so far this year.
Let's talk about the outfield, because all last year, the Padres were rumored to be kicking the tires on Jarren Duran. It sounds like they wanted, they were close to potentially making a deal. Red Sox probably wanted a little bit more for Jarren Duran. As they go into 2026, is he still the odd man out in the outfield? Is he the one that brings the most value to the Red Sox in terms of a trade? How do you think this outfield is going to play out during spring training? And, who's the odd man out right now in the outfield?
So just because of the way that the team is structured, I think Duran, to call Duran the odd man out is probably a little bit, I don't know if I'd say that, because he'll probably still play every day. But right now, I'd say Roman Anthony is probably going to get the majority of the time in left field. Cedar Rafaela and Wilyer Abreu were both Gold Glove winners at center and right field, respectively. So I would think Duran will probably play at DH a lot, which would make Masataka Yoshida that he would, if anybody, be the odd man out, which is a problem because, Yoshida is best used as a DH, an everyday DH. His skill set does not lend itself well to coming off the bench, especially when 4 of your 5 outfielders are lefty. So, not giving you much defensively, not much on the base paths. You can't like pinch hit him for a platoon advantage. So that's not ideal. As far as Duran goes, he's certainly going to have a lot of value on the trade market. So the Red Sox are smart to be holding out for a good deal. The same could be said, frankly, for Wilyer Abreu. They both have at least 3 years of team control. Duran, I believe, is 3 and Abreu is 4. And that's valuable. I think they could certainly bring an infielder back who will kind of address the needs that the roster has. But I think they're also just holding off. I think they smartly understand that all you need is one injury, and then suddenly that surplus turns into a deficit. So we shall see.
We're talking with Max Cerullo, who covers the Boston Red Sox for the Boston Herald. He's been doing it since 2023. Is our 30 teams in 30-ish days here on the Braden Surprenant Show. Mac, let's talk about the Wilson Contreras move. I mean, obviously the Cardinals are trying to ship off everything that's not tied down to the ship, Red Sox swooped in and brought in the 33-year-old former catcher, now first baseman, DH potentially as well. How do you see Contreras fitting into this team?
I think he's going to be a huge addition to this team. First base has been a real problem for the Red Sox for a long time now. They've really struggled to get consistent production from that position. And defensively, it hasn't been great either. Contreras will help with both. He'll play every day. He's proven to be quite a strong defensive first baseman. He really took to the position well. And the Red Sox really, really needed a good right-handed hitter, and he can do that. The numbers may not be quite as impressive as a Pete Alonso, but he's just a rock solid guy who can take advantage of Fenway Park's dimensions. He'll hit the ball out of the yard. He'll hit a lot of doubles off the monster. He is exactly the type of guy the Red Sox needed. The problem is that because they lost Alex Bregman, he's really only replacing that production. They need more. So ideally, they need to bring in another right-handed hitting batter, preferably an infielder, to kind of make this lineup, help this lineup reach its full potential.
You guys got a San Diego kid on your roster, Marcelo Meyer, who is one of the high draft picks of the Boston Red Sox not too long ago. Obviously, has spent some time up with the big league club. He has been down. He's been back and forth. He's still very young at 23 years old. He went to East Lake High School here in San Diego, and for all the people driving around that used to watch him in high school, how has he progressed? And what do the Red Sox think of Meyer? What are the plans for him in the future this year?
So Marcelo Meyer, what we saw from him last year is a player who is exceptional defensively at multiple positions. So he is ready to impact the big league club right now. The problem is two things, actually. He struggles to hit against left-handed pitching, as many young lefty hitters do, and he has struggled to stay healthy. Each of the past at least three, maybe 4 years, he's ended the season on the injured list with one injury or another, and that's kind of set him back in his development, because it's a lot of times where either he's trying to rehab and recover when ideally he would simply just be focusing on training and getting better. And just the fact that he can't stay healthy is tough, because now ideally you want him to be one of your starting infielders, but you have to have a plan B, because to this point he hasn't shown that he can hold up to a full season's workload yet. So Meyer is a fantastic talent. I think the Red Sox smartly view him as a key franchise cornerstone going forward. But there's still a lot of work to be done. It's not like a Roman Anthony situation where you can pretty much pencil him in as a franchise guy now. Meyer isn't quite there yet, but the ceiling is high for sure. Everybody's very excited about what he could do.
Last thing for you, Mac. I mean, obviously, with the additions, still not necessarily a complete roster yet. Spring training needs to be factored into this as well. But as the rest of the AL East continues to chug along and add and make big time moves during the offseason, except for maybe the Rays, how do you think the Red Sox stack up if they had to go into the season right now? So
their position player group is kind of dysfunctional. It's going to take a lot of Alex Cora is really going to have to manage. He's going to have to work hard to kind of make the pieces fit as it stands right now. They're also going to rely a little bit more on the younger guys like your Marcelo Meyers and your Christian Campbells than you'd prefer at this stage in the Red Sox's competitive window. But the pitching is just outstanding. Like, they have their full rotation is if it's not the best in baseball, it's very close. And they've just got loads of depth. So they can, if they lose a guy or two to injury, they have 3, 4, 5 guys who could step right in and, take care of, fill the spot. The bullpen looks like it should be pretty good too. And that is going to be very interesting to see, because last year's team won 89 games, even though they had really only 3 starters consistently pitching well throughout the season. So, I think the Orioles are sort of a popular pick to make a big step forward, but I think the Red Sox pitching is miles better than theirs. So, the Yankees are still going to be good. The Blue Jays should obviously be considered the team to beat after, the season they had last year and the offseason that they've put together. But the Red Sox have done a good job. And if they can make 1 or 2 moves to sort of make the pieces really fit together, they could really have a chance to compete for a championship this year.
Mac, appreciate the time. Look forward to talking to you probably the first weekend of April as the Boston Red Sox host the San Diego Padres. Look forward to it then.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Max Cerullo joining us on the David B. Shapiro Fan Hotline. All guests join us on the David B. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David B. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidbshapirolaw.com. Good to see Marcelo Meyer, South Bay kid. Get a lot of looks over there in Boston. Sounds like they have a dysfunctional position player group, and they have, like a lot of teams, they got a stockpile of a certain position, Frank. Orioles had a stockpile of first basemen. With young players, Red Sox have a stockpile of outfielders. There's going to be a lot of moves being made in spring training.
Yeah, they got some time too. I was able to win back-to-back World Series with them on MLB The Show in 2030 and 31. So the clock's ticking, boys.
Clock's ticking. If it doesn't work out this year, trade your two best players. That's what Herald Reynolds says.
That's no, it's not what I did. I traded Bregman. I still have Rafael Devers because I have a brain. Hall of Fame career.
The bit of Frank telling people that actually do said jobs that he does a better job on PlayStation or whatever gaming system you have is a phenomenal bit.
Give it the old actually.
I think it's hilarious. I think it's a great bit. All right. So Sportico had a article about potential suitors for the Padres in terms of a buyer. We talked about Joe Lacob, but there's a couple other names that just came out on Sportico. We'll tell you what Sportico had to say when we come back on this Braden Surprenant show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Coming down in 3, 2, 1. San Diego FC doesn't ease into year two. It drives straight into the deep end. Tuesday night at Snapdragon Stadium, San Diego FC opens its 2026 campaign not in MLS play, but on the international stage in the CONCACAF Champions Cup against Liga MX's powerhouse Pumas UNAM. This is where year two begins. Turnaround of a season, obviously, for San Diego FC in their first ever year. Just 65 days after their impressive season ended, they're going to start their new one on Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's going to be a great contest, I'm sure. Snapdragon Stadium, you guys are hearing this after it's already been played. But again, what you're looking for tonight out of San Diego FC and going through the future runs of the CONCACAF Champions Cup is just look like the team that left the pitch at the end of last season. You're not expected to be as good. That was such a high bar to maintain. You're just looking to be roughly where you were at the end of last season as far as competitiveness is concerned. I think that would be a big win regardless of the score.
And they're doing this, obviously, with the momentum of one of the most successful expansion seasons the MLS has ever seen. 63 points, 19 wins, first place in the Western Conference, one win away from an MLS Cup. That success has earned them a seat at the CONCACAF table, a tournament that historically hasn't been kind to MLS clubs. And that's why this conversation, again, when you hear this, when you see this, it's going to be after the results. But if it's a win for San Diego FC, that's great. And if it's a loss, there's a lot of other things to look forward to when talking about San Diego FC's football season this year. And a big reason is because of a lot of familiar faces on this team. And a big question of, this is no longer Chucky Lozano's team. This is now Anders Dreyer's team.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw how well Dreyer worked with Amal Pellegrino, who's now going to be taking up that spot that Chucky Lozano was in. You have changes on the back line. Guys like Pilcher and Bombino are going to be more of a focus this year, and they're very, very young. We saw how that inexperience and youth both helps and hurts you in the MLS Cup run last year. So I'm very, very excited to see how this new team is going to look, especially without what we anticipated being their face of the franchise for years to come being a part of their plans.
Yeah, he was brought in here to be the face of the franchise. Chucky Lozano was, and now instead it's Anders Dreyer, who had 23 goals in 41 matches last year. He is now the face of the franchise. He's fresh off of a contract extension through at least 2028, 2029. Mikey Barras got a contract extension after year one. And it looks like they have finally solidified who they want to build their team around. And it kept a lot of the same players from last year. Cisniega is back in goal for San Diego FC. Ian Pilcher, as you mentioned, anchoring the back end. And then, of course, Anders Dreyer leading the attack. As Anders Dreyer rose, the unfortunate truth is, and the very uncomfortable subplot was Chucky Lozano started to fade. After the locker room incident in October, Lozano was benched, then reduced to a sub role, and now San Diego FC plans to move on from its highest paid player. Very much a culture shift and not just a roster move when you think about Mikey Vargas getting the contract extension, Anders Dreyer getting the contract extension, and then the verbal confirmation that Chucky Lozano is not going to be part of the future plans.
Yeah, exactly. And also, Lozano got hurt at the beginning of the year, missed a couple weeks with, I believe it was a hamstring injury. So that obviously didn't help him either. May have been dealing with that for much of the season. But yeah, this is a club that is clearly, and this is how San Diego FC is set for long-term success, because they had a plan. That plan didn't work out, and they were quickly able to adjust and quickly able to pivot away from that plan without staying with it too long and just letting it bury the team. So the foundation is here for a long-term successful run here.
The match on Tuesday again against Pumas UNAM is a match that is in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Mm-hmm. And with this will be 2 games that will be played between San Diego FC and Pumas UNAM, one here in the United States, one down in Mexico. And it has different rules. I mean, it has the aggregate now. This is the first time that this team will deal with the aggregate. Plus, they have goals that count more when they're on the road. So whatever happens in the game on Tuesday, San Diego FC has an opportunity to still advance in their next game against Pumas UNAM when they go back down to Mexico. And this is kind of the fun part of being able to, after having a great season that they had last year, now you get to play at the international stage. Next week, we'll talk more about San Diego FC, but it's good that they're back in action. All right, that'll work. And recording. Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios, we know how. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. You want to get back to your phone calls, 833-288-973, 833-288-973. It's got the Marcus and Menifee. Drove all the way down from Menifee the other day to come say hi to us, go to Fan Fest. He's got a lot of stuff, obviously, with work that helps him, that prevents him from coming down to all of our stuff down here. But Marcus, it was great to see you over the weekend. What's going on?
Hey, you too, Braden. Hey, Frank. Sorry I missed you, dude. But, it was such a fun time. Such a fun time. I took my kids. They had a blast. So definitely going to go back next year. But, hey, I'm late to the party, but I have a good excuse. I was buying tickets yesterday, so I was on the phone for like an hour. But, whatever. I'm ready for the season. Looking forward to it. But so how we're team bogey in this spot.
That's right. It's the team Bogarts.
I think we should be team Vasquez as well. Because I think he's going to have a really good season, especially since Darvish is going to be, kind of that extra coach off to the side, and then with Stammen being the manager, I think he's going to have a really good season, and he'll be pitching into the 6th, maybe the 7th inning.
That'd be great to see. That'd be great to see, Marcus. We appreciate the phone call, man. Yeah, Randy Vasquez. And we'll see what happens with the Yu Darvish situation. I think a lot of the stuff has to get played out with getting the sell of the team, I think, Frank. I mean, based the way that everything's kind of been a little bit on hold for some things. But I tell you what, I mean, with the news last night from Dennis Lin, sounds like they're probably close to a sale. And now you're starting to get more information out there on people that might be interested in buying the Padres. Now, the local reporters had reported that the only public name was Joe Lacob. Now, Sportico had an article today about what could be other potential owners or people that are interested in buying the Padres. I thought it was very interesting. Again, this is according to Sportico. It's not anything that we know or anything like that, but this is according to Sportico and what they have reported. They have reported that two billionaire English Premier League owners, along with NBA ownership, Lacob, are among the leading candidates to purchase the San Diego Padres, whose sale could set a new benchmark for MLB valuations. Potential buyers, as listed in Sportico. Again, being reported by Sportico. Dan Friedkin. Dan Friedkin is the owner of Everton and AS Roma in the EPL and Serie A through Pursuit Sports. Friedkin is worth $10 billion. Houston-based businesses spans automobiles, luxury hospitality, and sports. Is that his business where he made his money? And he has explored ownership stakes in the NHL and the NBA before. He is rumored to be a potential buyer of the Padres. Then there's Jose E. Feliciano, co-founder of Clear Lake Capital, whose assets are north of $90 billion. He is an investor in Chelsea FC, major sports investor in the United States and abroad. His net worth is $3.9 billion. And a potential bid via family office alongside his wife, active in women's sports initiatives. He would become one of only two Latin descent MLB control owners if he is successful in buying a team alongside Artie Moreno of the Angels. And then the last potential buyer, according to Sportico, is Joe Lacob, the co-owner of the Golden State Warriors, who has been previously discussed as a potential buyer. I think this tells you a couple of things. One, I think it tells you that there are a lot of suitors for the San Diego Padres. And I'm telling you, with these suitors, Frank, these are people that are not interested in like, oh, let me buy a team and then move them somewhere else. There's a lot of other teams that are going to become available that are worth moving. This is not one of them.
No, absolutely not. And we went over all the reasons why last hour, why the Padres really have no chance at moving. But again, you're looking at
tap the sign.
Yeah, exactly. You're looking at big money guys. You're looking at guys who have the money to spend on these things. And like you pointed out, the teams that are in financial trouble or financial strife are owners that inherited their teams when they were bought years and years and years ago, and they didn't have the capital to get into, don't have the capital to get into baseball today if it wasn't for the teams getting handed down to them. So I can't see the Padres taking a step backwards with new ownership, especially with the situation that the team is in right now. And I have a feeling you're going to see a lot more of these names now that the internal ownership struggles have been figured out.
The interesting thing about Friedkin on there, aside from the fact that he's worth approximately $10 billion, is that he was born in San Diego, which is interesting, to say the least, right? Interesting, to say the least. So it's very interesting to see this play out right now. And obviously, out of the three that have been reported, I mean, I think all three are in a position that I think benefits the Padres in the long term. I really think it does. Now, here's the sale context, of course, that we talked about in the first hour. The team was put on the market in November of 2025 after legal battle among the Seidler family. Shield Seidler's lawsuit largely resolved in this month of 2026. Remaining claims relate to trust accounting and distribution, not relating to the Padres anymore. Ownership group for the Padres has approximately 10 people slash entities. Largest stake is 24%, which is held by Peter Seidler Trust. Purchase history: team was bought in 2012 for $800 million. Current valuation, according to Sportico this year, $2.31 billion, which is up 14% from the prior year. And the attendance for the Padres is second best in Major League Baseball at 3.44 million people. Revenue, according to Sportico on this deal, is north of $500 million in 2025. You'll never know that. Books are not open. Record MLB sale was $2.42 billion a couple of years ago when Steve Cohen bought the Mets. Sportico lays this entire thing out as this sale is a litmus test for MLB franchise valuations, as league's revenue multiple is lowest among U.S. major leagues. MLB clubs widely considered undervalued relative to potential value in terms of this industry. Strategic notes, potential structural changes may increase franchise valuations. Sale could set precedent for future MLB deals, and international investors show growing cross-sport, cross-continent interest in Major League Baseball. But I find this to be interesting. I think it's exciting to see what the Padres could potentially turn into and what some of these organizations or what some of these owners might be willing to do when in charge of the team. Because this is a team that can show that they can, if they spend money, they can go out there and win. And you got some guys in this group that look like they want to win. I think the fact that all of these all of these potential buyers own other franchises in other leagues shows that they are a group that wants to win.
Yeah, that only helps you. I mean, you're not going to sink $2.5 or $1.8 million into something that you don't care about, that you're not going to try to make better. So if you're looking at owners, if you're looking at an ownership group that cares, and you could also look at the other teams that they own. Are they good? Are they sinking? I saw one of the owners has a link with Chelsea. Chelsea had a down spell, but they're in the fight now. They finished in the top four in the Premier League last year. They've clinched an automatic advance in the Champions League this year. They're solid. So I mean, you could also look at that stuff too, as their track record as to what they're going to possibly do with this team.
Yeah, Joe Lacob's won 5 NBA titles. Is he not investing in the team? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to tell people, and they're not understanding. The price of the franchise has priced out people that are not willing to spend on their team. They have. The price that the Padres are going to sell for is too high for anybody that's just going to try to flip the team or just use it as just a business asset. Here's what with the Padres being valued at $2 billion, you know what type of owners show up? I'll tell you what type of owners show up when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego State Sports Station 97 through the Fan. This week is the NBA trade deadline, and before they get to the NBA trade deadline, the league has been kind of quiet, and that's exactly why everybody thinks it's about to explode. Outside of the Hawks moving Trae Young earlier this season and a few minor swaps over the weekend, real stars are still on the board, but league sources say it isn't inactivity, it's posturing, and once one domino falls, everything changes. And there are some big names that might be available at this year's trade deadline in the National Basketball Association. James Harden, number one on the list, a trade that could break the deadline. There's been a lot of rumors recently about him potentially leaving, and that he has maybe played his last game as a Clipper. Yeah, the reports were that he and the Clippers have both agreed that, yeah, it's time to go. Reports are saying that Cleveland has been the most aggressive pursuing James Harden, but there is a huge catch when it comes to that. To make the deal work financially, the Cavs would likely have to send Darius Garland to L.A., and this isn't really even about Harden versus Garland. It's more about Donovan Mitchell
who can walk at the end of 2027. So do you risk hurting your relationship with a guy like Donovan Mitchell for James Harden?
Yeah, the Cavs know if they flame out early again, convincing Donovan Mitchell to stay becomes nearly impossible. Harden is viewed as a win-now move, even if the fit is awkward. To me, this seems a little desperate. The desperation rarely wins championships. Harden doesn't match Cleveland's timeline, and the history of midseason exits is well documented. If this is a Cavs big swing to keep Donovan Mitchell happy, it might actually accelerate the breakup. The sneaky winner here, though, would be Oklahoma City, which owns the Clippers' unprotected first-round pick. If Los Angeles stumbles post-Harden, the Thunder cash in again. So for the Clippers, you can understand where they're maybe coming from and trading away James Harden. But, for a team like the Cavs, the desperation move, I don't think it's going to lead to a big run in the postseason.
I don't think so either. I don't see how James Harden really hasn't had that kind of success in his career. I don't see how he's the missing piece there.
Let's talk about the Greek freak up in Milwaukee, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yanni Boo Boo.
Yeah, everyone's waiting, and that's the point. Yes, teams are calling. Yes, Milwaukee is listening, but around the league, executives believe that Giannis is far more likely to move this summer. Why? Because waiting increases leverage. We talked about this on the show. Mm-hmm. If I'm the Bucks, I'm going to wait until I get a great deal during the summertime, then make a move right now.
Yeah, and there was a lot of talk, especially during the summer, about him going to the Knicks. We know now that the Bucks are starting to send counter offers to teams that have sent official offers for Giannis. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes, but it sounds like he's in his last 48 hours as a Milwaukee Buck.
The Bucks are asset poor right now, and the playoffs could create chaos. All it takes is one contender getting embarrassed in round one and deciding if they're 1 star away. So they could wait for the summer and wait for a team that got smoked in round one that needs to get a guy like Giannis. Milwaukee waiting. That's the smart play. This has the Paul George to the Clippers written all over it, the kind of trade that reshapes a franchise for a decade. If Giannis moves now, the Bucks risk settling. If they wait, the bidding war gets ugly, but in a good way for Milwaukee. And a team to watch, Golden State. Steph Curry's window is closing, and the Warriors feel urgency that other teams don't.
Yeah, especially for a guy like Steph Curry. He's won championships before. It would be nice to get him another one as we start to see the end of his career coming closer and closer.
Anthony Davis, he was traded last year.
Yes, he was.
Right before this time. Anthony Davis, quiet, but not off the table. He is hurt. Anthony Davis does want to stay in Dallas, and yet his name won't go away. The Mavs initially asked for a king's ransom, multiple first or a premium player, and nobody bid. If Dallas lowers the price to expiring contracts plus one real asset, things could move fast late Wednesday. More likely, though, Dallas trims money elsewhere. Klay Thompson, Daniel Gafford, D'Angelo Russell, pushes the big decisions to the summer. And just like the Giannis Antetokounmpo situation, it might be a more of a summer move for the Mavericks to move Anthony Davis.
Yeah, and Dallas with everything as we're entering the year after the Luka Doncic trade. I mean, there are a lot of questions that still need to be asked, and Dallas needs to figure out who they are and what direction they're going in. And I think Anthony Davis is a big key to that.
Yeah, they can play the long game. They're fine playing the long game. There's no reason to rush on an AD trade when you're still figuring out how to build around Kyrie. Plus, you got a 19-year-old in Cooper Flag that's expected to be and has been one of the best team players in the NBA. Other deadline wildcards, look for the Timberwolves. They've been quietly active. The Celtics already struck early in the trade deadline. Raptors are linked to Sabonis as Sacramento tries to shed salary. And the Pacers, with Halliburton hurt, Indiana might be pre-free agency, adding talent now for a 2026-2027 push. So that's the update on the trade deadline. NBA, about halfway point of the season. Remember to listen at 1 for us to announce today's biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey suite at a future Padres game with all the fan staff. Register your name at 97tothefansd.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I knew when we did our NBA weekly update yesterday that it was going to be tough this week with the trade deadline. Because I knew as soon as we talked about Harden and AD, they were going to get traded immediately.
And, just us poo-pooing the exact trade that ended up happening with Harden in Cleveland.
I thought that was going to kind of be a reach for Cleveland.
Well, we're going to be talking about it in the sports thread in a minute.
So that ends up being the deal. But the Anthony Davis trade, how about Anthony Davis? He barely makes it a year in Dallas. Now he gets stuck going to the Wizards.
What
place are the Wizards in?
The Wizards have been, I'm not even going to speculate.
Not going to speculate. Wizards, have they ever been good? The Washington Wizards, they're making moves now, man.
Yeah, the Wizard. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't speculate.
Yeah, they're 13-36. They're 24 games back.
2 games better than the Indiana Pacers, who were in the finals.
How about that? Nobody wanted to play for the Pacers anymore, so they left. Got up and left.
Halliburton's hurt.
Yeah, it doesn't help. Load management.
It's really
AD will have a lot
bad.
of time to have load management in Washington.
It's really bad when you lose one guy and your whole team just bleeps the bed.
The Mavericks get Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, and Marvin Bagley III, and 2 first-round draft picks and 3 second-rounders. Wizards get Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum in the trade with Anthony Davis. The Mavericks have been exploring the market for Davis since former general manager Nico Harrison was fired in early November, a decision made in large part because the fan backlash from last year's trade that sent perennial MVP contender Luka Doncic to the Lakers for a package headlined by Davis. Well, now that this trade is officially done with, how do we think the Mavericks did on trading away Luka?
Mavericks they lost the Luka trade.
Yes. And you know what they did? They also lost a lot of fans because I know a lot of Mavericks fans that don't root for the team anymore because they traded Luka. Immediately said, we're done with you.
Only Dallas things.
Yeah, only Dallas things. They needed, I almost feel like Jerry Jones paid Nico to make the most bonehead move ever just to put the heat off of Jerry Jones, who usually is the general manager in town that makes the worst decisions.
Speaking of things that Ben Higgins likes, point differential.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Wizards have the worst point differential in the NBA and are one of only 2 teams that are averaging less than 10 points scored, compared to points given up.
Nice.
Only them and the Kings are scoring 10 less points on average than they've given up.
I forget the Sacramento Kings exist sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes.
And now the Washington Wizards have their first real big name player in quite some time, harkening back to the legendary days of Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Legendary Wizard.
Yep. Didn't play for any other team ever. Just, legendary Washington Wizard, Michael Jordan.
Diehard Wizard. Guy loves the Wizards. And
Chicago White Sox, great, Michael Jordan.
Charlotte Bobcats, great, Michael Jordan, from a front office standpoint.
Hey, the Hornets are a game out of a playoff spot. With Scottie Pippen's Chicago Bulls.
Oh man! All right, let's get to what I was talking about. All right, when the price is as high as it might be to buy the Padres, and this is kind of the conversation we've had for most of the day today because of the news we got last night, and then the news we got this morning about potential candidates or potential suitors, if you will, for the team. The team is valued by Forbes at just under $2 billion. Sportico has them just over $2 billion. It sounds like if and when the Padres sell, it's going to be north of $2 billion based on reports. That is a level for a sports franchise where you are not getting the, quote, mom and pop owners anymore. You are now getting people that want to own a team and pump money into it like it's a yacht. Those are the type of people that can afford these teams. It's not the, well, let's swallow a big fish and then try to find ways to make money. No. These are investors that understand they're going to get the biggest return on their investment when they sell the franchise because the valuation's going to go up. And in the meantime, they're going to enjoy their toy. It's a toy, Frank. Owning a Major League Baseball team is owning a toy. And for the people that were listed, Dan Friedkin, who's from San Diego, who is the owner of Everton and AS Roma, and is worth north of $10 million. This is a toy for him if he buys the team. Jose Feliciano, co-founder of Clear Lake Capital, who is an investor in Chelsea FC. He buys the Padres. It's a toy for him. Joe Lacob, the owner of the Golden State Warriors, if he buys the team, it's a toy for him. And then they make their money when they sell. Do you know how much money the Seidler family paid for this, and their group paid for the Padres? $800 million. They're about to sell it for north of $2 billion. They've had the team for what? Just over 10 years, 11, 12 years? Whatever it may be. You get your money back when you sell at the end. That's when you get your money back. So, when I said earlier, like it depends on how much money they have, yeah, because they're going to use some of that capital to pump into their team. Steve Cohen does that. Now, do they make the right decisions all the time in New York? No, but they're spending money. They're spending money they don't even have in the organization, but the owner's rich and he spends money. Steve Ballmer spends money. These are the owners that you want, and the ones that are potential buyers listed are all people that own other sports franchises, and those are usually the ones that want to win. They enjoy owning a sports team so much and running a sports team so much, they want to buy other sports teams. It's fun for them. It's a toy. This is the type of owner you want. This is the type of owner you want. Army time. I'd like to know how much money Jerry Jones paid for the Dallas Cowboys. You know, he was trying to buy the Chargers, and the NFL said no. And they ends up buying the Cowboys later. They didn't want him part of the ownership group. What could have been? Could you imagine if Jerry Jones was here? You wouldn't have Snapdragon Stadium. You'd have Cowboy Stadium in the middle of Mission Valley right now. What could have been?
Jerry Jones paid $140 million for the Dallas Cowboys.
Manny Machado could write that check and say, keep the change.
And that anniversary is coming up. That was February 25th, 1989.
He tried to buy the Chargers first, and the NFL shut him down. That's the other thing, too. So whoever buys the team, they got to go through paperwork and all that stuff, and then they got to get vetted by MLB. I'm going to tell you right now, MLB is not going to vet an owner that would potentially want to move the team to go back to taking the air out of those sales from people today.
Jerry Jones paid more for the stadium than he did the team.
Yeah.
It was $140 million, $65 million for the Dallas Cowboys, and $75 million for Texas Stadium.
The stadium was worth more than the team back then. Then he ends up winning Super Bowls. Did he win those Super Bowls? Or did Jimmy Johnson win those Super Bowls?
No, Jimmy Johnson won 7 Cup Series championships.
And won 3 Super Bowls.
Impressive
2,
guy.
3, whatever it was.
He was a first ballot Hall of Famer.
That's right.
7 championships gets you a first ballot Hall of Famer. Fame bit. Who would have thought?
You know what? If Bill Belichick, he was down in Carolina, if he just jumped in a car and started racing, maybe that's why Jimmy Johnson was the first ballot Hall of Famer. They're like, oh man, this guy won 7 cups and won multiple Super Bowls. Got to get this guy. I don't see it. This guy's leading an NFL team to the Super Bowl, and he's driving NASCAR at the same time. What a stud. Get this guy in the Hall of Fame. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's get to, you ready for it?
I am ready.
Let's get to the today's sports thread. I wish.
It's where he's got all the money from.
Yeah, not Clear Lake Capital, where his assets are north of $90 billion. It's the
royalties.
Guy that sings Feliz Navidad.
Exactly. I mean, that's where else could he have gotten the money from?
Number 1.
Stop comparing new ownership for the Padres to old NFL moving with stadium issues. Stop it. You're going to put in timeout in the chat. Tired of reading those messages.
The
Doomers.
The Los Angeles Clippers, another team that won't be coming back to San Diego.
Why is that?
Because they just got a new stadium. A one with a big wall, apparently, too.
Yeah. They will kick you out of said wall if you're not participating in their little cheers.
The Clippers traded James Harden to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Darius Garland and a second-round pick, a move Harden helped shape as he looks to maximize his chances at a first NBA title at the age of 36. Cleveland pairs Harden with Donovan Mitchell to form one of the league's most dangerous backcourts and signals an all-in push in the Eastern Conference for the Clippers. For the Cavaliers. For the Clippers, the deal brings back 26-year-old Garland, a two-time All-Star who fits both their current needs and long-term reset as the roster continues to evolve around Kawhi Leonard. Did the Cavs just make a true championship push with Harden, or is this another big swing that could complicate the locker room come playoff time?
Well, they made the move to appease Donovan Mitchell, right? Isn't that the whole deal? Because Donovan Mitchell was complaining that they needed more help.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so it's about Donovan Mitchell.
Had in mind.
And so they go and they get James Harden, but now they're doing that so Mitchell doesn't walk, but Mitchell could still walk in 2027. And the Cavs know if they flame out early in the playoffs that convincing Mitchell to stay becomes nearly impossible. And so they try to prove to Donovan Mitchell that we're in a win now move, and they bring in James Harden. It seems desperate to me. It seems desperate to me by the Cavs. I think it's not bad for the Clippers.
One of the most disloyal players too. Like the second there's an inkling of, I'm not really feeling Houston anymore. I want out.
Where
goes out?
How
gets
many
out
teams
of
has
shape.
he played for?
Gets out of shape. I mean, just completely embarrasses himself. I mean, he is looking at the roster right now. Let me see here. Is he James Harden is on their roster. His career link here. Oklahoma City spent a decent amount of time in Houston, went from 2012-13 to 2021 in Houston. Brooklyn, Philadelphia, and then the Clippers.
I feel like he's played on more.
Exactly.
Oklahoma City, Houston, Brooklyn, Philly, Clippers, now Cleveland. That is 6 franchises since 2009. Guy's been in the league for a long time.
I mean, and look, he's only played. He played 44 games in 2020-21. Bless you. Played 65 in 21-22. I mean, the guy doesn't play full seasons, especially in years when he's getting traded.
Do any of these guys play full seasons?
Touche, but
load management. All right.
He spent parts of 2 seasons in Philadelphia. Didn't even play a full season's worth of games.
That doesn't surprise me.
I just, of all the stars that you could have gone all in for, Harden is the last one I would have.
Shoot, AD was available apparently.
Yeah.
We knew he was available.
What do you know?
Number 2.
Moving on, the NFL Players Association leaders are pushing back strongly against the idea of an 18-game regular season that Robert Kraft leaked might be a possibility. Saying players remain firmly opposed because of health and safety concerns. Interim Executive Director David White said the players have no appetite for an extra game and emphasized that nothing will change without collective bargaining. While some owners continue to publicly advocate for an expanded schedule and more international games, the union says there have been no formal negotiations. There's that phrase again, and warned a longer season would only increase injuries and shorten already brief careers. Is an 18-game NFL season eventually unavoidable because of revenue and international growth, or do the players have enough leverage to block this?
The players don't have a lot of leverage in general because their player association is not very good. I think if the NFL wants 18 games, they're going to get 18 games. I've already told you I'd fix the NFL. You're blessed to be in my presence of me fixing all these leagues.
So so here's,
add more teams. Just add more teams. You're going to get the same level of games. And people are like, there's not enough quarterbacks. Well, you know what? By playing all these extra games, none of the great quarterbacks, like a lot of them don't make it to the season anyway. You might as well just expand the league. If you want more inventory, get to 40 teams. Keep it in the United States. Come on.
So the gimmick on the show is you fix leagues, I fix teams.
Yeah, sure. What teams have you fixed?
Well, I fixed Boston. I just said I won back-to-back World Series.
That's right. Yeah.
So, I mean,
you fix teams on the PlayStation.
It works. I mean, honestly, if I remember correctly, going back to like MLB The Show 26, congratulations, Padre fans. This is your year. This is your year.
Save this clip. Save this clip.
MLB
might be onto something.
MLB The Show 22 said so.
Number 3.
You're also the PR spokesman for the Big Ten.
We both wear a lot of hats on this show.
That's right. Try our best.
Speaking of hats, the MLB Hall of Fame finalized their cap choices for this year's inductees. Carlos Beltran is officially going in as a New York Met. Andrew Jones is an
How does that
Atlanta
make
Brave.
you feel, by the way? Yes? No?
And Jeff Kent going in as a San Francisco Giant. Beltran cited his peak growth and success in New York. Jones spent nearly all of his elite Gold Glove filled career in Atlanta, and Jeff Kent chose the Giants after his most productive stretch came in San Francisco. All three will be inducted on July 26th. Did each player get the cap choice right? Or is there a stronger argument for Beltran with another team, especially given his postseason resume elsewhere?
He played 7 years with the Mets, though.
He also played 7 years with Kansas City.
I don't remember him as a Royal, though.
I don't either.
That's because it was his first 7 years.
Yes.
And it was also 1998 through 2004. That's why I don't remember him as a Royal. I remember him a lot as a Met. And then, I remember the one half season he played with the Giants in 2011. And then I remember Houston and the Yankees and the Cardinals mixed around.
I mean, he had the playoff run with Houston that got him the Met deal.
Adam brings up a good point.
He was fired before managing a game because that's when the trash can gate deal came out.
But they hired and then fired him before he was even allowed to manage a game, and he's going to wear their hat. That's kind of ironic. He must really love the Mets.
I always thought I didn't realize players can pick their hats now. I thought it was just, it goes off of where most of your career.
No, you get to pick. I'm pretty sure the Padres back in the day paid Dave Winfield to go in as a Padre.
It's one way to do it.
I seriously, I think that was I think that's the story.
No, I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just saying that's certainly one way to do it.
So yeah, I think they get the choice. Andrew Jones is definitely a Brave. What was the other guy?
Jeff Kent is a Giant.
I view him as a Giant for sure.
I mean, and for Beltran, now the Mets are talking about retiring his number and all this stuff. So
you just can't manage for us.
No, you just.
But everything else you can do.
Honestly, he might get hired if Mendoza goes down the drain.
He should.
Which I'm surprised he hadn't already.
Jeff Kent played 6 years for the Giants. I remember him as a Giant.
That's it?
That was the most. 6 years of the Giants, 5 years of the Mets, 4 years of the Dodgers, 2 with Houston, 1 with Toronto, and 1 in Cleveland. His final 4 years were with the Dodgers. That's why. But I remember him as a Giant probably the most.
Yeah, I always remembered him as a Giant. I thought he was with the Giants for a lot longer than just 6 years.
Number 4.
We'll close out here with a sad story. 3 Southern Alberta Mustang junior hockey players, J.J. Wright, Cameron Casorso, and Caden Fine were killed Monday in a vehicle crash while traveling to practice near Staveley, Alberta. The tragedy has sent shockwaves through the Canadian hockey community, all of Alberta and us as well. Condolences to the families.
Yeah, it's terrible. condolences to the families and everybody affected by that. That's sad. When we come back, we're going to start the noon lunchtime hour. We will dive into some more baseball talk, stuff on the field this time.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the gas lamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
Well, what's up, San Diego? Noon lunchtime hour on 97.3 The Fan. Nobody brought us food today. That's fine. It's okay. Wasn't an ass to bring us food.
What a welcome back. None of you guys gave me food. So
Well, you know what? Your close to the sports thread was depressing. But anyway, let's move on. Let's get to some. Who likes our new artwork that we have?
It's so cool.
I think it's cool too. Thank you, AI, for helping me with that. I wanted like kind of a new logo redesign. Like, I wonder if they could do this stuff. And I had to put some Easter eggs in there, but you can see it obviously. I started with that.
We got the afternoon.
That's the midday one, right? That fits our actual show.
Afternoon.
And then that's the early morning.
Wait, this early morning?
That's what I put. Early morning. That's the sunrise.
Oh, well, then I'll swap these around then.
Yeah, you could do that if you want.
I thought that was like late afternoon.
No, that's early. That was early morning. That's the nightcap. That's when we do a night show.
Okay, don't give anyone ideas here.
Weekdays all day. Yeah, great. Maybe that could be our like podcast. Frog and the Dog after dark. Throw that on there. It's like a late night. It looks like a late night talk show. Looks cool.
It does, yeah.
Looks awesome. I mean, this will be the like standard pre-show, and then mix these guys in. The Frog changed on that. I don't mind either, Frog. That one's not too bad. I do agree with like Go Aztecs though. Like you got stuck with a hot dog. It's kind of lame, but it's kind of the natural casings bit. It's what makes it kind of fun. Cole loves it. He thinks it's sick. You know what? Thank you, AI, for helping me out with that.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, when you showed them to me last night, they were really, really cool.
That was like the first one too. The one I showed you was like with the alley and stuff like that with the neon sign. I thought was awesome. But on top of that, it was like, all right, well, make it look like it's in San Diego. And then they pulled the gas lamp on me. Are you kidding me? Sweet.
That's a library in there too?
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's not. I mean, obviously it's fake because the library's not behind the gas lamp like that. But it's cool. I bet you.
Really?
I bet you I could. We could probably do a Petco Park one.
For the zoo in there?
There's a lot.
See, now we're going to put all these graphics up, and then we're going to be like, well, we got to show off all these graphics, and then we got to show off all these videos that we're doing that are going to go over the graphics.
That's great. Well, that's the other thing we got to figure out is how do you animate that now?
That is.
We're learning because then that could be a commercial break. It'd be like the rain. Like it'd be like the. In fact, that happened last night. My dad last night told me. Those after our show, by the way, a lot of times, if you're just leaving our show on your television, the next one is like the scenic with the rain and and they play like the piano music.
Yeah, like the.
That's very nice. I tell you what, I had that on yesterday for like 3 hours while I was working on stuff.
That's what it's for.
We got to make those with this.
We
got to figure it out. I got to figure out how to do that. AI is still like, I think there's some. My opinion on AI is I think there's a lot of cool stuff with AI, and I think there's a lot of scary stuff with AI. I think it's like you've got to be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I think there's certain things you should use it for. Like it should help you with notes and some other, stuff, but I don't think it should help kids write papers. Yeah, I think that's terrible.
I was really against using like ChatGPT because like I want to be able to read, and I still want the skills of reading and summarizing what I'm reading, the whole reading comprehension. I want to keep that. I did it one night because I was tired. I was done. I was done thinking.
No wonder you got all these spelling mistakes. Yeah. AI is just making the mistakes for you.
I used it And I was like, okay, this is so much easier. Like doing the sports thread one night turned from an hour-long thing to 5 minutes. I was like,
Great for
rewriting
rewriting titles and descriptions and stuff like that. But the photo thing was cool. I've never really dabbled into the photo. Apparently, there's a lot of other. I mean, people like are really in AI. They can figure it out. I'm sure there's one I can use that will animate that. But I thought that was cool. I like that new addition on top of our other. We're trying to. It has taken us a year, but you know what? We have made the commercial breaks more entertaining.
We had to first settle into the new routine. I mean, we started May 5th. Cinco de Mayo was our first show together, trying to figure out the routine, try to figure out the direction that we wanted to go in. We think we've got that down now. And now we start sprinkling in the fun stuff.
I like it.
We start adding to it little by little.
That's right.
Speaking of adding to things little by little, we are adding to the suspension list and the reasons why people should hate the Lakers.
Oh, I got texted this like 3 times. Is this the Shams deal?
Jackson Hayes.
Yeah, you are anti bro, windsock.
Jackson Hayes has been suspended for 1 game for pushing the Washington Wizards mascot.
Why?
To the G League with you.
You should never be allowed to play again. Seriously. We are the show. We are the Xander Bogaerts show, I would say. We are the big supporters of Xander. We are also the mascot show.
Yes, we are.
And it pains me to hear the mascot abuse in this particular setting from Jackson Hayes. And I tell you what, I looked at the Wizards mascot. If you say, find a picture of the Wizards mascot, some of us got to be able to defend this guy because you know what? He's not like Dinger that can defend himself. He's not like the Friar that's got the bat that can defend himself. He's not like a lot of the college mascots. I mean, this is a very pushable, push-around mascot.
This is a pushable guy.
This is very much a mascot that you could totally pick on. But somebody needs to make a stand and not let a guy like Jackson Hayes push around the Wizards mascot.
You just said brother has a punchable face is really what you just said.
I said he's pushable. Put him on the screen.
I am. I'm working on getting a picture.
What's his name, by the way?
I don't know.
Wizards mascot name.
Gee Whiz.
Gee Whiz. His name is Gee Whiz. Spelled G-W-I-Z. Gee Whiz is the Washington Wizards mascot. Look, that's a pushable mascot. That guy gets bullied. Out of all the mascots, aside from Mr. Met, he probably gets bullied the most. And you know what? Some of us got to stand up for this BS. Jackson Hayes. Think about this for a second. Like, how angry you have to be to push a mascot
that looks like this? Like, come on. It's a cross between the Philly Fanatic and Gonzo from the Muppets.
That's a great call. That's a great call. G Whiz. Is the G stand for Gonzo?
Gonzo Whiz.
Gonzo Whiz. Who wins in a fight, G Whiz or Mr. Met? Cole Brooks, I'm telling you, dude, he's shovable. I could see where Jackson Hayes is at, but you know what? You can't be pushing over mascots. Imagine being so angry at the way you've played, and then you look up and that guy's looking at you and he's making fun of you. I could see, you know what? I could see why you push him. But mascot violence will not be tolerated on this show, Frank. It will not be tolerated on the show. You will win Sock of the Week if you mess with the mascots.
See, here's the thing. We get the Rockies a lot. Of course, we get 4 times a year.
Dinger's cool, man.
We are going to try our best this year. This is going to be our thing for the year. We're going to do our best to make sure we get Dinger out here for a road trip.
That's not going to happen.
We're going to try, though. We're not going to say we didn't try. We would love to see Dinger out here at Petco Park and watch it be the series that the two of us are busy with other things and can't go to any of the games.
My buddy went to the bathroom next to Dinger one time. Back when he worked for the Rockies.
Okay.
It was lunch break. He went into the bathroom. Had to take care of business. Looks down, stall next to him. Gigantic purple dinosaur feet. It's like a This Is Sports Center commercial.
What a sight.
Right next to Dinger, dude.
What a sight.
He dropped a dinger next to Dinger. That's what happened. He said the mascot, he said like the guys that would like that were Dinger would just walk around like in the office. Like, so, you know, during a day game, the offices are still open at some of these places, right? Like they're still trying to, you know, put together, you know, ticket sales, all that stuff. So he's working in the office. No. It's a day game.
You've turned Adam onto ChatGPT and we've created a monster
images.
Now. So can ChatGPT make an image?
I'm sure they could. And he'd just be sitting there, you know, working, and then Dinger would come in to get a cup of coffee. He'd like walk in, he'd give a hand, a dinosaur leg movement, and then he'd grab the coffee pot and he'd fill it up.
Dinosaur leg movement.
Yeah, it was like a This Is Sports Center commercial. Dinger just walks around Coors Field. He owns the place. Well, I guess he does. He was there first. They dug him up when they built the place.
He was born there.
He's right. That is such a foul, man. That is such a foul on Jackson Hayes, man.
It's
pushing
like, again,
the mascot.
It's like, again, but dude, that was one of the greatest clapbacks because NASCAR every now and again ran like promotions where they would have kids make, like a Toyota did a promotion one time where they had kids set up a design and whoever won the contest got to pick which Toyota car the design went on. And one of them was a 9-year-old girl, like it was a bright pink car. It had like unicorns and fairies and stuff on it. And Kyle Busch was the guy who was chosen to drive the car. And there's a great video that goes around of like all of the guys ragging on Kyle Busch for wearing a pink fire suit. He's like, Tony Stewart, because you got to wear that when you go dirt tracking with us. No, of course, because when some big brolic dude wants to fight us, he's like, dude, how can you fight this? Like, how do you fight a guy in a pink fire suit? How do you fight this? Like,
I don't know.
How do you fight?
Piss you off? Gee whiz, man.
How do you fight that?
If you think about the DC mascots, he's kind of the nerd one of the mascots in DC. The Commanders have Major Tutty, who is a 6'5" hog. He's a pig.
Yeah.
You know, the Hogs offensive line. Yeah, he's huge. He's not messing with Major Tutty. I tell you what, you know what? This is another reason why Jackson Hayes is soft in this sense. He picked the one mascot in town that he had that he's picking on the little guy. Gee whiz. He ain't picking on Major Tutty, tell you that. Probably not picking on Screech, the Nationals mascot. The only thing worse is at least Gee whiz is above probably the racing presidents. Probably better than that. Talon is the DC United mascot. AI says that the Wizards don't have an official costume mascot, which is a lie because
we just saw.
If that was the case, Jackson Hayes would still be playing. He got suspended.
Exactly, yeah.
Imagine getting suspended a game for pushing a mascot. I mean, I haven't even looked at that angle yet. Oh, what are you in for? I pushed Gee whiz. He's got to suspended a game. Guys get suspended for a week for, you know, whatever.
Sits next to Draymond Green. Yeah, I stomped on a guy's groin in a playoff game.
I pushed Gee whiz.
Yeah, I pushed Gee whiz.
It's funny. Lasorda beating up the Philly Fanatic was funny. Here's the difference though. They do that like pregame and it's like fun. It's like an act. Like when Blooper like goes around with the Braves. And he got Machado to sign away like his whole contract and it's fun. Like they had a good time. Imagine being the guy that pushes the Washington Wizards mascot. Different level.
I just like really. My favorite
Guy's lashing out, want to be traded.
My favorite mascot.
That's how frustrated he is with the LeBron James and the Bus family.
As I've said several times on this show, I hate the Atlanta Braves.
I know you
except for Dinger.
Blooper.
The Blooper. Sorry.
Dinger's the Rockies mascot. You obviously do love him a lot.
Blooper is my favorite mascot of all the baseball mascots, and I put him over Mr. Met any day.
I didn't realize I could find a more of a pushover of a mascot than Mr. Met, and I found Gee Whiz. So I learned that today.
No, well, we saw there's that GIF that goes out from a couple of years ago. Mr. Met is from the streets. We saw him flipping fans off.
Yeah, then we saw him fall off a stage at a Coldplay concert or whatever it was. He just went, boom, dropped. I mean, the guys that play Mr. Met, you know.
Yeah, you kind of lose your street cred, dude, when you fall off a stage trying to catch a tambourine.
He jumped back up, though. God bless him.
You still lose your street cred. There's not much coming back from that. There's no amount of fans you can flip off. It's, for me, the Blooper and Blue are like my two go-to mascots. And Dinger, of course.
Which one's Blue again?
The Colts mascot.
Oh, yeah. Blue's pretty funny. Until he has to listen to These Are Our Colts. No wonder his eyes are so screwy. He's got to listen to that all the time.
This is our Colts.
There it is.
This is our team. We bleed blue.
I'm kind of glad they didn't make the playoffs now, because then we would have to hear that all the time. I told you to put it in there too, so
yes,
I take responsibility for that. But I feel bad because that guy, like, you know, he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah,
you can't make fun of that guy.
No,
you can't make fun of Jackson Hayes though. Mascot violence will not be tolerated on this show.
Nope,
it won't. I think he should have been suspended for a week. You know what?
Well, a week is 2 games.
You know what the punishment should have been? Jackson Hayes should have had to beat Gee Whiz one day.
Yes. Yep.
The NBA comes down. Jackson Hayes is going to be Gee Whiz next week. What? Well, he pushed him, so.
Yeah, we're giving the guy the night off. And the guy in the suit for that night gets to push him.
Yeah. And they play the Warriors. Somebody tell Draymond. This is the conversation we have to have about the NBA. Because of the NBA, like, the NBA is exciting during trades and the offseason. And then during the season, the level of play is just like, I know they're the best in the world, but you don't see it until the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not the only one saying this. I mean, before it was the haters. The haters would
players say it.
But now it's like Kevin Garnett's saying it. Paul Pierce is saying it. Other former and current NBA analysts and insiders are saying it. I'm telling you, it's not that great. The best part of the day is Jackson Hayes pushing a mascot. All right, when we come back, let's talk a little bit about what Harold Reynolds said to an extent. MLB.com gave a list of 6 teams, said it's put up or shut up time, Major League Baseball. We'll talk about those teams when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego State Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Going down in 3, 2, 1. UC San Diego is at a real turning point right now when it comes to basketball. The women are still setting the pace in the Big West. The crowds are growing, and on the men's side, this week feels like one of those moments that can really define the rest of the season. Let's start with men's basketball. This is a must-respond moment for them after they fell to UC Santa Barbara at home last week. They had a little bit of a bounce back over the weekend, but UCSD is back at home at Lion Tree Arena Thursday night against Long Beach State, and this one matters more than the record might suggest. Tritons come in 15-8 overall, 5-6 in the Big West, having dropped 3 straight conference games for the first time in 3 years. The most recent loss at CSUN, where freshman Hudson Mays did a little bit of everything, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, but UCSD couldn't keep pace late in the 81-64 loss. Now here's the context. Long Beach State sits 1 game behind UCSD in the standings. Only 8 teams make the Big West tournament. UCSD already beat Long Beach State 80-74 on the road back in December. Tritons lead the All-Division I Series 5-4, but this is not just a get-right game for UCSD. This is a standings game, and it comes at home where UC San Diego will play 5 of its 7 February games inside Lion Tree Arena.
Yeah, absolutely. And that game against CSUN over the weekend, that one got really, really rough for San Diego's for UC San Diego late. So that was a big kind of like an eye-opening game for them. Is there might be a couple of problems here, but a get-right game here against Long Beach State. You've already beaten them on the road, coming back home, friendly confines. We talked about it on the show on Tuesday with San Diego State, coming back, playing more difficult games on the road early, now coming back and being able to get them at home. This could be a big boost for UC San Diego against Long Beach State.
For a few reasons to watch closely. Alex Chaikin has been red hot from deep, ranking second in the Big West Conference in three-point percentage at 46.5%. When UCSD is spacing the floor, they are a different team. Hudson Myers continues to emerge. He leads the team in field goal percentage and is the best free throw shooter in Big West play. And Bull Dengit gives them size, rebounding, and rim protection, something they'll need against a physical Long Beach team. Plus, UC San Diego is second in the Big West in home attendance during conference play, averaging nearly 3,000 fans per game, and recently played in front of a sellout crowd against UC Irvine. This program is learning how to handle expectations and pressure, but it's going to be a tough place to play for Long Beach State with the Tritons hosting them coming up later this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And UC, as you mentioned, UC Irvine had a sellout crowd in that game, so it's been very, very good and very much a home court advantage for UCSD whenever they come to Lion Tree Arena.
What's next, though? After Long Beach, it does not get easier for UCSD. They head to Hawaii on Saturday night, a place where very few teams win. But remember, UCSD already handed Hawaii its first conference loss earlier this season by out-rebounding a team that came in with the best rebound margin in the league. That tells you the Tritons can compete with anyone when they play to their identity. The big picture, though, UCSD isn't hiding anymore. They got the sellout crowds. Everything's building, but they got to be able to play their way into the Big West tournament. Now, as for the women are leading the pace. They're at the top of the leaderboard in West Coast Conference play. They've been playing great basketball so far this year, and it's a nice little bright spot in town when it comes to basketball with how successful the women's team has been.
Yeah, it's always great to see when you have one of the teams doing good, but especially to have both the men's and the women's team. The men's struggling a little bit, but still overall a very, very solid team. But to see the women setting the pace in the Big West, absolutely huge to see. And also nice to see some local media presence growing as well with games here on 97.3 The Fan.
That's right. Just for context, the UCSD women's basketball teams continuing to set the standards as mentioned before. Tritons went on the road and knocked off UC Santa Barbara 52-49 and a game-winning layup by Michaela Rose, then came home and dominated CSUN 82-67, forcing a program record 31 turnovers. Right now, the women's team is 10-1 in conference, sole possession of first place, 7-game road winning streak, winning games with defense, depth, and poise. Michaela Rose isn't just a scorer. She's also closing games and making history, setting a program record with 8 steals in one night. This team doesn't beat itself, and that's why it's sitting on top of the league in Big West Conference play. So talk about the men's basketball team a lot. We talk about the men's basketball teams in town, but the women's basketball teams here in San Diego have been off to really good starts to the season and are really looking to finish this thing off and close things off. So that's our update on UCSD. We'll be back next week. All right, let's talk some Padres baseball. Let's talk baseball in general. We're in the Bill House Studios. We know how. Here on the Braden Surprenant Show. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. The frog and the dog. Cole Brooks really likes the bang. It's cool. I like it. I'm going to have to play around with that again later today after the show. We want to talk to Padres baseball. The news today, of course, was the news about Shiel Seidler dropping some of the lawsuits against the Seidler brothers, which in turn has led to now a bunch of reporting, or a handful of things of reporting, about the Padres potentially being sold. And that might be on the horizon. But on top of that, we're getting closer to spring training. We are less than 7 days now. Are we about 7 days? Where are we at now?
We are less than 7 days.
Less than 7 days.
We are 6 days, 0 hours, 44 minutes, and 54, 3, 2, 1 seconds.
It's a 110 start.
Yeah, it's a 110 start.
110 first pitcher at Pitchers and Catchers is throwing that ball at 110 Pacific time. Okay. MLB.com put out, as they usually do, they have like the rankings and like the one team per division on this other stuff. So we're going to break down one of them that we talked about yesterday. I got to get better at it. I mean, I teased it twice yesterday. We didn't get to it because we had other things pop up. But this is what the list was. It's put up or shut up time for these teams in the American League. And MLB.com came up with one team per division, and we'll take a look whether or not we buy or sell it. As we start with the American League East, Frank.
Let's do that. Let us start with the American League East. Let us also get the music going. Let us do that. So,
lettuce and tomato.
Exactly. Every MLB season matters in 2026, but in 2026, this is a flashpoint year for several franchises. These are the teams that have invested heavily, aged together, or pushed chips to the center. And if it doesn't work out now, a painful decision looms. Roster teardowns, front office changes, or philosophical resets, starting, as you said, in the American League East with the New York Yankees. What is at stake? World Series or bust yet again. The Yankees remain the franchise with the most pressure in baseball, full stop. It's now been 16 years without a championship, an eternity by Bronx standards. Key points: Aaron Judge is aging and ringless. Garrett Cole's health remains critical. Minimal offensive upgrades beyond bringing back Cody Bellinger and a step back from a 2024 AL pennant appearance. The roster is old, it's expensive, and it's incomplete, which is what makes the Yankees boom or bust this year.
Yeah, I do think they're a boom or bust team. I do think it's put up or shut up time for the New York Yankees. I mean, they can... the fact that they're crying poverty right now because the Dodgers are outspending them out on the West Coast is funny to me, but it's an aging roster. We talked about this. Aaron Judge isn't getting any younger, and Garrett Cole's health remains critical, as you mentioned. They didn't really make any moves outside of just bringing back Cody Bellinger. I mean, for all of the criticism as the Padres have gotten for their problems of their roster, which is not a lot of that sounds like the Padres, Frank. Yet the Yankees are here, and everybody talks about how the Yankees are going to be great. The Yankees are in the AL East, all that, and they're going to be able to win the AL East and all that stuff. I would say the Yankees are more so what people are saying about the Padres than they're saying about the Yankees.
That's where you just say, but Yankees. That's why the Padres are getting this criticism, and the Yankees aren't.
It's an old, expensive roster that has a lot of holes. I do think it's put up or shut up time for the Yankees, and I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I don't think they have a team to build. And Aaron Judge has to put up another MVP type season and carry that team like he has done every single year he has been a Yankee.
If the Yankees do not make a World Series this year, Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone are both gone.
I'm surprised that Aaron Boone has survived this many times. Every year it's been, they might get rid of Aaron Boone. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, it's still fire him. He's just, are you fired him or not?
If they do not make the World Series this year, or God forbid, for them at least, they don't make the ALCS, both Boone and Cashman are gone. New York fans have been fed up with Aaron Boone for years, and they are about fed up with Brian Cashman. So
I think Cashman needs to go first, but they can't get rid of one and not get rid of the other. They have to get rid of both. They got to clean house, and it's not a 90s Yankees roster anymore.
Nope. No,
it's not even, and they haven't been close to that since 2009.
It is, if you look at their age.
It's not the talent.
AL Central, the Detroit Tigers are in their put up or shut up here. Stakes: win the division now or admit the window is closing. Detroit's refusal to trade Tariq Skubal, a pending free agent and two-time Cy Young winner, signals that they believe this is the year. They have not won an AL Central title since 2014. Last season, late season collapse in 2025 still hangs over the franchise. The roster aging relative to their division rivals, and a division that is very, very winnable. Now remember last year, that was a complete 180 from what they did in 2024, because they had that 2024 surge at the end of last season. That completely fell apart at the end of last year.
I look at the Detroit Tigers, and I don't really say it's like put up or shut up time for them. I think they're starting to climb a little bit here with some of the young talent that they have. Now the problem is Tarek Skubal. If they don't keep Tarek Skubal,
I think that's why it's
rough.
I think that's why that's a put up or shut up year, is because this is your last year with Skubal.
But at the same time, like, they did not build around him enough. And the other thing too is, like, their books open up. I mean, they free up. Like, you only got 2 more years of Javi Baez that you have to pay for, and he actually played really well last year. But that's money out the books. Gleyber Torres is a free agent at the end of the year. Jack Flaherty is a free agent at the end of the year. Kenley Jansen's got a club option that you probably won't pick up. Drew Anderson's got a club option. Kyle Finnegan is under contract till 2028. The only guy you have under contract for a long time is Colt Keith, and then all your young guys. So I don't really think it's put up or shut up time for the Tigers. I think the future is bright for Detroit, but this is your last chance with Tarek Skubal.
How much longer, just off the top of my head, I don't know, how much longer are Kerry Carpenter and Torkelson and all them?
Kerry Carpenter's not a free agent until 2029. All 2029. Riley Green, 29. Spencer Torkelson, 2029. Kerry Carpenter, 2029. Terry Holton, 2029. Bo Brisky, 2029. Zach McKinstry is through 2028 with Will Vest and Matt Vierling. The only guys going off the books next year, Casey Mize, Jake Rogers, Tarek Skubal. I'm telling you, the young core is and there. Then you got a handful of players that are not even eligible for arbitration. I don't think this is put up or shut up time for the Tigers. I think they're young and they're good. They're going to have to do without Tarek Skubal. And you know what? They could go get another pitcher. And they can't get a guy like Tarek Skubal, but I look at that. You got a lot of cheap players on the Tigers. I don't know how they can't just keep Tarek Skubal. I'd give him whatever he wants.
Yeah, I think that's the only reason why, is they're putting so much stock on Skubal being the guy who makes or breaks Detroit. I think that's the only reason why.
American League West.
AL West. The Texas Rangers proved that 2023 was not a fluke. That is what is at stake for them. The Rangers' 2023 World Series win was magical and increasingly looks like an outlier. Their pressure points, only playoff appearance and winning season since 2016, fourth manager since 2018, lost Marcus Semien, but added Mackenzie Gore, Brandon Nimmo in bullpen depth. The Astros are declining. The Mariners are ascending. The A's are
improving.
And
They're
Rangers
improving.
Still have not capitalized.
Another mediocre season does raise brutal questions. Was the entire plan worth it for one ring? I think it's always worth it for a ring. Potentially. I mean, the Texas Rangers won their first ever championship. I mean, that's something the Padres want to do, right?
Clearly can't go 16 years without winning a championship. I'm sure.
If you're the Padres, like, wouldn't you say yes to that?
Yeah.
I would say yes to that immediately. So, put up or shut up time for the Rangers? I mean, do they have to prove that it wasn't a fluke? Maybe a little bit. I mean, they only have to do that because they traded for Jacob deGrom. And they've tried to spend money and all that. But I think this is the last year for Texas before they have to start making some sane financial decisions. And they already did one with getting rid of Marcus Semien. They have Corey Seager still. They have Brandon Nimmo now. So I think this is one more year of put up or shut up time. But they got a young core of players too. I mean, Wyatt Langford, Cody Bradford, Robert Garcia, Cole Winn, Evan Carter, and Jack Leiter are not even arbitration eligible yet. And then they got the other players of Josh Smith, Jake Berger, Josh Young, Ezekiel Duran, and Alexis Diaz that are all under control through 2029. They just picked up Mackenzie Gore. Yes, you have a couple of aging players, but I think they're in the kind of the same spot as the Texas Rangers. It's like, this is your last hurrah, probably with some of these aging vets. but the future's still bright. They're in a way better situation than the Yankees are. What about the National League?
What about the National League?
The National League. Put up or shut up time for some of these teams, yes or no? Buy or sell? We'll talk about that when we come back. Take a look at the National League West. Name that you see might be familiar. We also need a contestant for Midday Sports Standoff. We'll tell you how you could be part of that too when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego State Sports Station 97 through the Fan. NASCAR Cup Series is technically back, but Mother Nature had other ideas over the weekend. Winter weather at Bowman Gray Stadium has forced NASCAR to delay the Cookout Clash, pushing the preseason exhibition from the weekend to Wednesday night, with the main event now set for 6 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. Snow blanketed the historic quarter-mile track, turning what was already one of NASCAR's most unpredictable events into even more of a wild card. Despite the delay, anticipation hasn't cooled off. Drivers like Christopher Bell say the offseason always feels longer than it actually is, and that pent-up energy now gets released in a format that's been completely reshaped because of the schedule crunch. NASCAR scrapped the 4 heat races, making qualifying far more important in previous years. Frank, I'm sure you can help explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, so again, as we had mentioned in last week's update, there was supposed to be 2 days of this. It was supposed to be qualifying in the heat races on Saturday, setting up for the last chance qualifier, and the race on Sunday. I believe it was Friday that they announced that the race was going to be postponed to Monday. Sunday afternoon, I believe, they announced that it was going to be postponed to Wednesday. We've seen drivers out at the stadium at Bowman Gray Stadium. I believe John Hunter Nemechek and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. were out there actually shoveling snow out of the grandstands, shoveling the snow and ice out of the grandstands to try to help the track crew get the track prepared. Now, the track is, so far as what we know, dry and ready to go. Goodyear is bringing the rain tires there, so just in case it does rain, because there is a chance that there is going to be rain, possibly snow, so they won't just cancel it, but they're really trying to get it done during the middle of the week so it's not butting up against the Super Bowl, with it being as close as it is already. So now practice will be today, as you're hearing this on the show. Tomorrow, if you're on YouTube, will be Wednesday afternoon. The top 20 drivers will lock themselves into the main event. There will be 2 more spots available in the 75-lap last chance qualifier. So the top half make it in. The top 2 from the LCQ make it to the final race, and then the race at 6 o'clock on Fox on Wednesday night.
Not a lot of margin for error.
No.
If you want to be able to qualify.
Absolutely not, especially on a track as tight and as tiny and as narrow as Bowman Gray Stadium is.
So this is leading into what is going to be coming up after the Super Bowl, which will be on Sunday's Daytona. And obviously they don't want to be around, from some of the conversations that I've had with their NASCAR fans, it doesn't sound like a lot of the NASCAR people want to stay in Daytona for a long period of time like they used to, because they got to get back to the West Coast starts really the deal. So that's a long trip from Daytona over to the West Coast. We go Phoenix and Vegas out here on the West Coast, but formerly Fontana, when we used to have a track up in California in Fontana. But, with them getting closer and closer to Daytona, they can't really afford to have any other weather problems coming up on Wednesday.
No, they really can't. And again, it's the Super Bowl then, and then qualifying for the Daytona 500 usually is Super Bowl Sunday or the Saturday before during the day. And then you have the dual races on Thursday, truck race Friday night, O'Reilly series on Saturday, and then the Cup series on Sunday. So it really is, it's a full week-long event down at Daytona, getting ready for the 500, getting ready for the start of the year. And then it's a quick trip up north to Hampton, Georgia, to the Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'll never call it Echo Park. And then, yeah, it is. It's a long West Coast swing as the winter months wrap up.
In terms of this format, because we have a little bit of time, do you like the format change that they have to do? It's not like anybody really has a choice, but it's not really about who spent the offseason optimizing simulations. It's about who can adapt in real time, manage tire wear, and keep their nose clean on a tight quarter-mile track. I mean, this honestly plays into who can adjust the fastest and who could be on their feet quicker in a NASCAR race.
Yeah, who could adjust the fastest as well. You also have a new engine package this year for NASCAR. There's more horsepower in these things this year, so they're going to be even quicker around this tight, narrow little, what effectively turns into a running track. But yeah, I mean, I'm fine with this. I understand it's good for television. It's fun for television to make it a 2-day event, but as far as the way this is set up for Wednesday, I think it's as perfect as it could get.
Well, they're not cooperating with NASCAR to get the season started, but it should have a lot better weather in Daytona in a couple of weeks. We look forward to talking about that next week. It's about time to get to the midday sports standoff here on the Braden Surprenant Show. If you take me down some sports trivia, you would be qualified to win a chance at our grand prize. 2 tickets to see Guns N' Roses at Snapdragon Stadium on September 2nd. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. If you want to call in, try to take me down in some sports trivia, get qualified, be able to go to Snapdragon Stadium to watch Guns N' Roses. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. I do want to mention that we are going to be announcing our biggest fan in just about 19 minutes or so, the 1 o'clock hour. So stay tuned for that. All right, let's get back to the situation at hand of put up or shut up time for these teams in Major League Baseball, according to MLB.com, whether or not we believe it or not. Let's get to the National League on this particular subject.
Start, of course, we'll go east to west once again. As for the East, it will be the Atlanta Braves will be your put up or shut up team. Stakes, no more excuses. The Braves have lived off of their 2021 World Series. Thank you for moving that. World Series glow while quietly underachieving in October. Their key pressure points: no playoff series wins since 2021. Missed playoffs entirely last year. Massive long-term contracts, now need to produce, and they're in a tough division with the Phillies and the Mets surging, as well as a brand new manager going into this season.
I think it is put up or shut up time for the Atlanta Braves. They could complain about and use the excuse of injuries for always so long. I mean, that's 2 years in a row where injuries have decimated the Atlanta Braves, or suspensions or whatever it may be. Now, you look at their contracts, Ha-Seong Kim's on a 1-year deal. By the way, he's missing 4 months already. So you're not even going to get most of him. Chris Sale's on the last year of his deal. Raisel Iglesias is on the last year of his deal. Joe Jimenez, Ozzie Albies, Aaron Bummer, Tyler Kinley, all are on their last year deal. Jorge Mateo, they just picked up, is on a 1-year deal. Mauricio Dubon, a player that is eligible for arbitration, he's got his last year under contract. They honestly don't have a lot of guys that are under contract for a long period of time. Austin Riley and Matt Olson. And that's really it, because the Braves did a great job a handful of years ago of buying guys at a very cheap price. Now, you look at some of their big players. Ronald Acuna Jr. is up very soon. Now the Braves have club options. That's where they cash in. They have club options. They got a $17 million club option next year and the one after that on Ronald Acuna Jr. They got club options on Spencer Strider and Sean Murphy. They got a club option on Mike Yastrzemski. But as much as this long-term deal seems to be hampering the Braves, according to this, I disagree. But I do think it's put up or shut up time. Their payroll next year is $262 million. They have spent the money. They got the core. They did get a World Series out of it in 2021, but they haven't been close since 2021, Frank. And all these guys are starting to age out of their prime young years and starting to get into their 30s. They still got a couple of years left, so it's probably not do or die, but it's getting closer to put up or shut up more than anything else for the Braves.
Yeah, and a lot of those big name contracts that they signed very early with guys like Ronald Acuna, those are coming up, and they're coming up pretty soon too.
You were on the Acuna's but Acuna's got club options though.
Yeah,
he's got 2 club options for $17 million. So he's 28. They could take one when he's 29. They could take one when he's 30, or they could try to renegotiate. But I don't know how much money is he going to sign for at age 30.
Yeah,
probably a ton. So if that's the case, you don't think you can re-sign Acuna at the next 3 years, then yeah, you better start winning now while he's still in his prime.
Absolutely. For the National League Central, the Cincinnati Reds are going to be the team we're going to focus on here. Win a playoff game. Win an playoff game at minimum. Yes, the Reds made the playoffs last year. I'm sure you guys forgot by now. Key pressure points for them: 8 straight playoff losses dating back to 2012. Terry Francona now in charge. Ellie De La Cruz entering potential superstardom. They just added Eugenio Suarez with 49 home runs last year. And barring the Cubs, there's really no dominant team in this division.
No, there's no dominant team in this division. They got a lot of young players, but they needed to make that splash to make the playoffs last year. Now they got to win a playoff game. I agree with that. It's time for them to win a playoff game with their young core. They're starting to develop into big, everyday players. They don't have a lot of guys under massive contracts either. And especially when you got a guy like Ellie De La Cruz, who's 4 years away from free agency at age 24, saying, yeah, I'm going to wait till free agency. He's not even interested in signing a contract extension. That tells you the state of the game right there, because he knows he can cash in on a bigger deal with bigger teams and teams that win. You better start winning just to try to convince a guy like Ellie De La Cruz to stay on your team. They got Hunter Green, they got Brian Hayes. They got a young, talented roster, but yeah, it's time to start winning playoff games if you're the Cincinnati Reds.
And the final one, National League West. Take a guess who it is?
Probably the Padres.
It is the San Diego Padres. Stakes this year: catch the Dodgers or face a reset. The Padres have spent aggressively and come close, especially in 2022. But the gap with the Dodgers remains. Key pressure point: the farm system largely depleted due to win-now trades. Dodgers are still elite and have rebuilt their farm system. They brought back Michael King as a sign that they are not quitting, yet they have not returned to the NLCS since 2022.
Well, it's hard to get to the NLCS.
It is.
And only 2 teams do it every year. And one of them goes on to the World Series, obviously. I don't think it's put up or shut up time for the Padres in terms of catching the Dodgers, because I think that the goalposts keep getting moved because the Dodgers continue to keep adding and adding and adding. But I do think it's time for them to make a run again in the playoffs. Yes. I think it's time for them to get back to the NLCS. Otherwise, it's slightly disappointing, because you sign the contracts of Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts to these long-term deals to their 40. It only works out if you make it to the World Series while they're in their younger parts of the contract, and they're running out of time on those 2 particular players. I don't think the window is closing at the end of this year. I think it starts to close for those 2 players in the Padres. But the fact that they got Fernando and they got Jackson Merrill under contract for a long time is a very much a sign of optimism for the Padres, and why that window will stay open. Because when you have those 2 players on your team, you're going to be better than a lot of teams in the National League who you're competing with.
I don't know what they mean by face a reset. But,
yeah, because they're not a big market team, and therefore when small market teams spend money and don't win a World Series, it's time to break everything up and ship everything out to big market teams. That's what they want.
Times they be a changing.
Yeah. Harold Reynolds has been asking for the Padres to trade Fernando and Manny almost every year for the last 4 years. I mean, it's like clockwork with him. But anyway, do we have a contestant?
We does.
Let's get to it.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, he's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, who we got playing today?
We have William and Poway playing today. William, how you doing today?
Hey, Frank. I hope it's a NASCAR question.
It is not a NASCAR question. It's a baseball question, though. So something we're all very familiar with. We're ranking teams again. We're ranking top 10 teams. The top 10 teams that traveled the most miles last year. So the top 10 teams that traveled the most miles last year. Got it, William?
MLB?
Yes, in MLB, yes. So, William, you have the first guess.
Seattle?
Seattle is definitely on the list, but they're not where you would expect. They are number 4 on this list. They traveled
Everybody's guess.
They traveled 44,622 miles last year.
It's usually a lot of West Coast teams that have to do this.
A lot of them.
Padres, they got to be top 10.
Padres are number 3. They traveled 45,436 miles.
Dodgers?
The Dodgers traveled the most. They traveled 48,649 miles. Right.
Cubs, they went to Japan. Really?
Despite that,
Despite
the Cubs
flying to
did
Japan?
not travel the top 10 most. William.
Arizona?
Arizona traveled the 7th most amount of miles, 41,781.
Anaheim.
6th most, 43,323 miles. William.
The Marlins?
The Marlins are on the list. 39,887 miles traveled last season.
How many we got left?
We have got 6 down, so 4 to go. Number 2, 5, 9, and 10.
Colorado's all by themselves. Maybe Colorado.
Colorado is not on the list. William, you can get number 5 here if you get this answer right.
Boston?
Not Boston.
There's 4 left.
There are 4 left.
I don't know. Tampa?
Nope, and that is Braden's 3rd strike. William.
Yes.
You want to take another guess? I mean,
Atlanta.
you've won the game pretty much at this point because Braden struck out.
Oh, good. Nice cake. Nice cake. I feel like Randy Johnson.
You want to take one more guess at it?
Atlanta?
No, Atlanta is not it. But anyway, hold on the line, William. We will we'll get your information during the break. Braden, any more hacks you want to take at this? You kind of gave yourself a big hint earlier on when you said it's mostly West Coast teams that have to do this.
Yeah.
And I acknowledged it too.
Oaklamento? Number 2.
Oaklamento is number 2, 48,310 miles.
And then probably the 2 Texas teams.
Texas Rangers went 37-212. Astros were 36-766.
He was close on the Red Sox. Red Sox finished 11th.
One more.
We've said everybody else.
No, it would have been the Giants. We did not say the Giants.
We didn't say the Giants? I thought we said the Giants. I was thinking the Giants. I thought I said them.
No.
Rockies came in 13th.
Think thunking and saying aren't the same thing.
Frank's coming up with questions that nobody's kind of any idea. Just throwing out guesses.
It's good to guess on Brian Giles Day.
On Brian Giles Day. I'm surprised some of these. I'm surprised the Cubs didn't rack up a ton after flying to Japan
I was
and
very
back.
surprised there too.
All right, when we come back, we'll recap what some of the big games were last night in San Diego, Aztecs basketball, as well as San Diego FC, and get you a quick preview of the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. Stay tuned, plus the biggest fan. It's about that time. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We're the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego State Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. We're broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. And it is time for today's biggest fan. We do this at 1 o'clock each and every day during this particular promotion time. And today's biggest fan, congratulations, today's biggest fan, Melissa Bevier in La Mesa. Melissa Bevier in La Mesa. Give us a call within the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. And you'll qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey suite at a Padres game with all the fan staff later this season, catered by Spiro's Mediterranean Cuisine. Remember to register your name at 97throughthefansd.com/biggest fan. Today's biggest fan, Melissa Bevier, Bevier, in La Mesa. You got 10 minutes. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. There you go. Clay immediately every time goes, not me, angry. And then, but way to go, Melissa. Love it. Gotta love it.
I'm so happy for you.
We are. Let's talk about the Aztec game last night. Kind of reset from what we had earlier this morning. Aztecs went and hosted the Wyoming Cowboys last night. They won 72-63. Now 16-6 on the year, 10-2 in Mountain West Conference play. Wyoming 13-10, 4-8. The next game for the Aztecs will be on Saturday at 5 o'clock Pacific time against Air Force. That game will be on Fox Sports 1. Some key takeaways from the game last night. Aztecs remain atop the Mountain West, 10-2 in league play. Half game ahead of New Mexico and Utah State. Haven't played yet this week. Post-loss dominance continues for the Aztecs. Brian Dutcher is now 52-11 following a loss, including 37-2 at home. How about that for some impressive numbers? Thank you. Consistency in league starts. Third time San Diego State has won at least 10 of the first 12 league games under Brian Dutcher. And series streaks against Wyoming continue. 15th straight victory. 18th consecutive home win at Viejas against Wyoming. And head coach Brian Dutcher is 15-1 against the Cowboys and 9-0 at home. The last time San Diego State lost to Wyoming was December 27th, 2017. They've dominated the Wyoming Cowboys. And guess what? Now you don't have to play them ever again. They're no longer going to be in your conference. You don't have to worry about Wyoming anymore or the Dome of Doom or anything like that. You might have to play Wyoming one more time in the Mountain West tournament. But other than that, you don't have to play them anymore. Here's some player notes for you from last night's game. Reese Dixon-Waters, 23 points, 3 rebounds, a steal, plus 16 on the plus-minus last night. He had a season-high 23 points, second 20-point game this season, and the team has won all 5 of the games he has scored 20-plus points in. 12th straight game, scoring double figures, 16th time this year, and it's the 6th time for Reese Dixon-Waters since 1960, or for 6th time in Aztec history since 1996 to 1997, and Aztec scored 20-plus points versus Wyoming without a turnover. That's an interesting stat for you. Miles Bird had 12 and 8, 2 blocks, 3 assists. He led the team in rebounds, 13th double-figure scoring game this year. Jeremiah Oden, 7 points, 1,000 career points, and with a three-pointer at 6:02 in the first half. So he joins the 1,000-point club. And Taj DeGorville, 2 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. Led the team in assists fourth time this season, match season high, 2 steals. 5 lead changes last night, 2 ties. Aztecs opened the first half strong with high assist to field goal efficiency, 12 assists on 12 marks. They had runs of 8-0 to go from 19 to 17 to 25 to 19. They had a run of 15 to 7 to close the first half. Wyoming did have a 9-0 run second half that trimmed the lead down, but the Aztecs closed strong, 65 to 50 lead with 2:59 to go. Had the scoring advantage in the paint, outscored Wyoming 38-10 points in the paint. Starters outscored Wyoming 54-33. They had more points off turnovers, 14-8. They had more second chance points. They had more fast break points. The bench also outscored Wyoming 30-18, second straight game. Actually, no, they were outscored 30-18 on the bench, which is the second straight game underperforming in that category. But, with the injuries to San Diego State and having to use their depth, that's not totally crazy. But overall, you look at the way that they played last night. I mean, it was a breakout performance by Reese Dixon Waters. He played 34 minutes and had those 23 points. He is the type of guy that's going to have to lead in the absence of LZ Harrington. Just like we talked about Miles Bird having to lead with the absence of Magoon Guath, both of those guys missing time, it's going to have to be Reese Dixon Waters, and it's going to have to be LZ Harrington. Now, taking a look at where there are metric-wise, they were the second to last team in the NCAA tournament in the latest Joe Lenardi bracketology. In terms of their overall metrics and what you're looking at, they're 45th in the net, 36th in the RPI. They had a strength of schedule. They have a strength of schedule of 39, a non-conference strength of schedule of 23, 1-4 in quad 1 games, 3-1 in quad 2 games, 6-1 in quad 3 games, 5-0 in quad 4 games for the Aztecs. If you look at their overall team sheet, again, their strength of record still pretty good at 55. Their Kevin Pauga index is 45, and then their KenPom's 45 as well. Did you see Doug Gottlieb just eviscerate the KenPom ranking last night?
No, I did not.
He spent 4 minutes. He spent 4 minutes last night in the press conference as head coach of Green Bay. He spent 4 minutes in the press conference talking about how KenPom is BS.
Oh, God.
Just eviscerating KenPom.
Where's Green Bay in the KenPom ratings?
Oh, I have no idea where they are.
That's probably why.
I mean, look at that. I can go find the net rankings. I could even tell you where Green Bay is in the grand scheme of things. Like what conference they play in. That's a fun trivia question. Tell me the conference that Green Bay plays in. I have no idea. They were terrible last year. I mean, Doug Gottlieb is trying to coach a D1 team and then do a radio show on the side. He spent some time away from his radio show, or he says he has, or he's cut it. I don't know what the situation is, but that is remarkable to me. I mean, there's one thing, right, about me coaching high school football and doing a talk show. He's doing a national talk show and then coaching a Division I basketball team. Green Bay is in the Horizon League. They're in the Horizon League. Yeah, he said he gave up the show. I think he was taking a leave of absence. He's still doing a pod. I don't know exactly what he was doing, but Adam knows him pretty well. He said he gave up his radio show. 10-12 is Green Bay. They're 238 in the net. You know how many teams are in Division I college basketball?
It's 300 something.
365.
Jeebus.
That's way too many teams in D1 basketball. Green Bay comes in at 238. Their non-conference RPI, not bad, 112. Non-conference strength of schedule, 20. Because they play teams like Kansas. But they are, he said the whole thing is KenPom is BS. He said the full phrase, though. He didn't care. You look at the Green Bay net sheet. I got to look at this. Because you asked where they're at in KenPom. 239 in KenPom.
That's probably why. Probably why he's upset with them.
Yeah. It is, out of all the metrics that they are ranked in, it is the worst metric that they are ranked in. Take that for what it's worth. To me, I only look at these. It's like they bring them up, and Ken Palm goes on TV and he talks about all these rankings and stuff like that. Whatever the committee is using, that's the only one I care about. That was the only one I care about. Is the whatever one the committee does. And right now, it seems like it's the net rankings, and San Diego State's in a high spot. And Gary Parrish last night on CBS Sports said, "Don't panic, you're going to be in the tournament." I don't know about really that yet, but as long as the Aztecs take care of business, they should be in the NCAA tournament. Again, to mention, as of right now, they're one of the last 4 teams in the NCAA tournament, according to Joe Lenardi. They got to dominate Air Force on Saturday, make it through the next 2 home games that are against better opponents, but you get them at home, and then worry about the quad 1 games after. And it's a tough stretch on the quad 1 games. You got to play at Colorado State, which I think is a trap game. And then from there, you got Utah State at home, and then you're at New Mexico, and you're at Boise State. And to be kind of help, you can navigate that with the depth that you have, with the injuries that you have for the Aztecs. But what you can't do is you can't make it through the quad 1 games without getting one of those guys back. And hopefully it's LZ Harrington sooner rather than later. We don't know really the situation on Magoon Guath, but they got to get him back too. I mean, Magoon Guath, man, the last couple of years, just, with the injuries has been one thing, but they had the article yesterday or 2 days ago. Mark Ziegler had an article after San Diego State played Utah State about their inability to compete at a high level when it comes to money with the rest of college basketball. If you're giving Magoon Guath a ton of money right now, you got to look somewhere else next year. I can't imagine him coming back. I mean, that's where the NIL kills you too, Frank. It gets back into the situation of, it's like the Dodgers. The Dodgers can buy the way out of mistakes just like Kentucky can. Kentucky's roster is worth $20 million. Whatever it is. Whatever they reported on that thing.
Yeah, and especially at a time now where there's no rules, no limitations, there's no caps or anything like that, it's only going to get worse.
I look at the Aztec. Yeah, the Aztec. We talked about this in our weekly conversation that we play during commercial breaks on YouTube. You can go watch the YouTube video. It's on our page at B_SURP. But in that article that Mark Ziegler wrote about college basketball and about San Diego State and Utah State trying to compete with some of the big boys, Brian Dutcher openly admitted that San Diego State does not have the NIL or revenue-sharing firepower to compete nationally. The Aztecs are operating with around $3 million in men's basketball funding. That sounds like a lot until you realize that 30-plus programs nationally are north of $10 million, and Kentucky is reportedly at $22 million. I mean, the roster for Michigan, just the roster itself, reportedly was around $12 million. We saw what that roster did to San Diego State, did we not? So Aztecs are heading into a new Pac-12 with Gonzaga, who's a full share member, who's going to take all of that money, not have to put any of it into football, and can pump it into basketball. It's going to be tough. And Gonzaga's already doing a lot without the TV contract. So Brian Dutcher is not complaining here. He's just kind of giving the warning of, we're going to be able to compete in our conference, but it's going to be tough to compete at a national level, considering we have $3 million to spend and Kentucky's got $22 million. And who knows what Gonzaga's budget is, but that's just going to increase with the fact that they're getting a new TV contract. I mean, they're playing right now in the West Coast Conference. I'd be shocked to get $1 million in a TV contract like that per school. The Mountain West signed their TV deal. It sounds like that's going to be around $3 to $5 million, which good thing the Aztecs aren't in that conference anymore. Sounds like the Pac-12 will be around $7 to $10 million. I mean, that's not enough to compete with the Power Four. It's not enough at all. So you get about $7 to $10 million per school. I mean, that's going to be an upgrade for San Diego State, but they got to spend it on football too. It's going to be tough to compete at that high level. And now, when you got, and we didn't even get to this, Frank, but I'm going to bring it up now because I think we got some time to really get. Yeah, that's like you talk about, like Amari Bailey going back to college after playing NBA games, and what the precedent is if the NCAA clears him to play. Anybody that hasn't been paying attention to this, former UCLA guard Amari Bailey is attempting something that's never been allowed in modern college basketball, and that is return to the NCAA after playing in NBA games. We have seen the European pros come over. We have seen the G League players now get cleared. But Bailey, who's 21, says he wants one more college season to improve his game, change the perception around his career, and prove he can lead a team. He has hired both an agent and a lawyer and is prepared to challenge the NCAA legally if necessary. You got to shut this bleep down right now. Homeboy played a game and he lost. It's called life. Bailey played one season at UCLA, helped the Bruins reach the Sweet 16. He entered the 2023 NBA draft, selected in the second round by Charlotte, appeared in 10 NBA games on a two-way contract, spent 2 years in the G League before being released, now wants to return to college for the 2026-2027 season, which would be his final year within the NCAA's 5-year eligibility clock. Bailey's perspective is he believes he left UCLA too early as an 18-year-old, made mistakes, and still has a lot to prove left on the table. Right now, I'd be a senior in college. I'm not trying to be 27 years old playing in college athletics. Brother, you left college. That was the reason. That was part of the stipulations of leaving to go to the pros. Does he not understand that?
This is what we discussed also. As all this stuff was happening, we're seeing so many guys only spend 1 year in college. And then like the Ball family, they only spent 1 year in college and they're nowhere now.
The one and done years.
Yeah, because they don't grow up and learn how to play basketball properly. They go into the NBA, they're still kids, they're trying to learn on the fly, and by that point, by the time they're ready, the league has already passed them by. If you want to do this, go do what people used to do. Go to Europe, go to China. That's where you don't go back to college, especially now when they're paying you more money than you'd be playing in the pros.
Yeah, would he be interested? Would he be interested in doing? My question is, would he be interested in doing this if he wasn't getting paid?
Go to Spain, go to China. That's just go abroad. That's how this is done properly.
I look at this and be like, you played stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Dude, he chased the bag, which is his right. Fair enough for him to do. I bet you any coach that said he wasn't ready, he probably would be in a situation like, because this happens all the time. Now, I don't know if he said this or not, or what the conversation was, but he had a choice.
Has he?
He made the choice to go pro, to chase the bag, and now it's not working out for him. He knows he's not going to be getting too many more chances, and he's sitting back regretting the decision he made to chase the money in the NBA. Yeah, exactly. And now he wants to go back because it's like, well, I'd still be a senior. Well, you left.
Has he learned his lesson though?
No, because he's going to get bailed. And the thing is that the courts view this, they're going to bail him out, and he's going to go back to college and then try to do it all over again.
But he's chasing the bag in college. Right. Now, like he's just chasing the bag, so he hasn't learned his lesson.
He's going to say whatever he needs to say to become eligible, but the reality of the reality of the situation is, I'd be interested to know if Amari Bailey wanted to still go back to college if there was no such thing as NIL. Would he still be interested in doing that?
No, because he'd be going to Europe. He'd be going to China. And Adam Paul, I know Lonzo and LaMelo Ball are still in the NBA. They are not the can't-miss stars that they were allegedly supposed to be in college. They were supposed to be superstars. They are barely role players now.
The NCAA has said that any athlete who has signed an NBA contract is ineligible regardless of age or role. The president, Charlie Baker, has publicly reaffirmed this position. However, there's a lot of cracks in the system with the two-way NBA contracts, right? Alabama forward Charles Bediako also played on a two-way NBA contract. He won a court injunction allowing him to play. Courts have questioned the NCAA's selective and inconsistent enforcement. And the NCAA recently allowed James Nanji, an NBA draft pick who played professionally in Europe, to regain eligibility. A key comparison point to Bailey's argument. But the thing is none of those players had played in NBA games yet. Bailey's lawyer argues that playing a handful of NBA minutes should not permanently disqualify a college-age athlete. Bailey's pro earnings are comparable to what many top college players now make via NIL and direct school payments.
Should it not disqualify them, though? Like, I understand.
If it doesn't disqualify them,
it shouldn't disqualify.
There should not be any eligibility rules, plain and simple.
It shouldn't disqualify him from going back to college. Like, if he wants to go back to school and learn, because my NBA career didn't work out,
he wants.
That's fine.
He just can't play basketball.
Exactly. You're ineligible as an athlete. Doesn't matter. You could have a 4.0 GPA. I don't care.
He could go back and play another sport. He just can't go back and play basketball. That's all it is. But now it's like we got to make this happen. I mean, how this plays out is really, it's going to be almost impossible for a high school kid to go play college basketball or play college football.
And why are two-way contracts such an issue? The NHL has two-way contracts. You don't see college hockey players doing this.
Well, college hockey is different too.
They go to the DEL. They go to Europe. They go to Russia.
Well, Cutter Gauthier played an NHL game for the Ducks and then went and played a season for Boston College. He did do that. I don't know how hockey works. Hockey's confusing to me because
I'm just saying the two-way contracts are the same. Like the G League, you're set up to where you're protected. If you're a two-way player, you can go. It's not like baseball where there's options. If you're on a two-way contract, you can go up between the AHL and NHL team all you want with no penalty. If you're on a one-way contract, then you have to clear waivers if you get sent down. That's the two-way deal in hockey. I'm assuming the NBA is the same way.
It's not the two-way deal part. They don't want to play in the minor leagues when they can play in college and make more money than the minor leagues.
In college.
A lot of these guys, one of them was that came up was a guy that like just skipped college and went from a high school standpoint. Like, all right, I can understand that. But once you sign to be, a paid professional, your eligibility should way out unless we just get rid of eligibility. I mean, that's where this is going to. Just get rid of eligibility. What's the point? I'm seriously, like, what's the point? What's the point in eligibility? These guys are getting paid anyway. Everything in college is catered to the top 1% of the college athletes. Why even have eligibility? Who cares? Let Diego Pavia play quarterback in college until he's too old to play and he has to retire. Let him do it. Why do we care? Seriously, why do we care? Let the players go make their money. It's not like you're protecting anything anymore. They're paid professionals. They shouldn't have to go to school anymore. They shouldn't have to do anything. It's not college athletics. The college athletics is gone. This is another form of professional athletics. And they should just make it the league at the top level. I mean, if this passes and Amari Bailey is eligible, I don't know why there's even eligibility rules, period. I think you could fight all of them at that point in time. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we'll get you a little bit of a look at what happened last night on the pitch. San Diego FC, big win last night. We'll recap that when we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan. If you're looking for proof that the San Diego Gulls are growing up in real time, look no further than the last week. Points in 5 of the last 7 games, wins over Coachella Valley and Ontario, and now sitting 6th in the Pacific Division, right in the middle of the playoff fight. What they've done the last week, Wednesday against Tucson, they had a shootout loss, but points earned in the 4-3 shootout loss to the Tucson Roadrunners. It wasn't perfect, but important. Gulls grabbed a standings point in a tight division matchup. Ryan Carpenter opened the scoring with his first power play goal of the season, a big deal for a unit that has not been that consistent. Goals for Sidorov and Pitry as solid contributions across the lineup. Callie Kling stopped 23 of 26 and went 8 for 10 in the shootout. And Coach McCalvin summed it up best. Bad 5 minutes cost them in the extra point, and those are the details they're still learning to clean up. But it's good to see them adjust on the power play, Frank.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the main focus points that we had in last week's update was the power play not working out for them and having them and causing problems. But yeah, I mean, and that just goes to show Coach McIlvain saying it, 5 bad minutes cost you a game. It's true in every sport. You need to be on for all 60 minutes if you want to take a W.
Then last Friday at Coachella Valley, Statement Road win. They won 4-3. This one definitely mattered. Points in 4 of the last 6 games at that point. Sidorov exploded. 2 goals, 1 assist, now 6 points in 5 games. Caulfield matched his AHL career high with his 11th goal. Solberg with a power play goal. Rookie defenseman leading the goals. Blue liners and goals. Massive moment was Sechanik's first AHL win since returning from a torn ACL. This felt like a belief game for the San Diego Gulls.
Yeah, absolutely. Coachella Valley has been one of the better teams in the West so far this season in the AHL. So to get a win on the road against a high-quality opponent such as Coachella Valley, absolutely huge for confidence with a young team learning and growing.
And then on Saturday, a big win against Ontario, very much a turning point win against the Ontario Reign. They had a sellout crowd at Pechanga Arena, 12,920, one of the biggest nights in franchise history. Goals beat the second place Ontario Reign with a goal with 17 seconds left. Nathan Gauthier with his first career game winner. Judd Caulfield stayed red hot, 3 points, 6 points in 3 points, 6 points in 3 games. Callie Klein earned his 10th win, now 10-3-2 in his last 16 starts. This wasn't just a win, it was a message sent to the AHL that the goals are coming back.
Yeah, exactly. And especially with that record with Callie Klang, 10-3-2 in his last 16 starts. I mean, that is absolutely massive. A great run for a goaltender to be on, and for it to come against a team like the Ontario Reign, who is the AHL affiliate to the LA Kings. So you have that LA Anaheim rivalry in between Ontario and San Diego. That is a huge, huge win. And to do it in dramatic fashion, too, scoring in the final seconds of the game, it's very hard to beat that level of excitement.
Here's the Pacific Division reality. The Gulls, 49 points. They're in 6th place. The top 7 make the AHL playoffs in the Pacific Division. Only 11 points out of first place behind Colorado. 1 point ahead of Tucson, 6 ahead of Henderson. They've earned points in 16 of the last 24 games. Goal differential is basically even. This team lives in tight games. This is no longer about hanging around. This is a playoff team right now. They're in a playoff spot. And a roster note that matters, Sam Colangelo's back. He's been reassigned to San Diego. 16 points in 23 AHL games this season. Former Gulls goal leader, all-star point per game rookie last year, adds legit top 6 scoring and power play finishing. Huge boost heading into the stretch run. And again, when talking about Sam Colangelo, this is a guy that doesn't have a spot right now with the Anaheim Ducks, and it shows how successful the Ducks are, and now leading to the Gulls having better players stick around for longer.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what we talked about when we had Matt McIlvaine on at the beginning of this season. Is guys that are good enough. Definitely good enough to play in San Diego are having a hard time sticking around in Anaheim. And that's not because they're not good enough. It's because they just don't have the spot for them. And Sam Colangelo right now definitely fits that bill. He has spent some time up with the NHL squad in Anaheim, but just has not been able to stick. So Colangelo gets to come back to San Diego and help.
August 97 to the Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. A couple of segments left. We're going to talk about San Diego FC and the big win that they had last night over Pumas UNAM. They will play them again on the second part of this leg in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Now, they will play them on February 10th. That is their next game. Their first MLS match, their home opener for the MLS, will not be until the end of February when they play Montreal here at Snapdragon Stadium. But last night, pretty big win for San Diego FC. They beat Pumas UNAM 4-1. San Diego FC's first competitive match of 2026 didn't look pretty on the scoreboard for nearly an hour, and then it looked really good on the scoreboard. After dominating possession territory, and chances from the opening whistle, San Diego FC finally broke through in the 68th minute and never looked back. They scored 4 goals in an 18-minute avalanche to turn a tense night into a statement win. Not just a victory. That was a warning shot, I think, to CONCACAF as well as the MLS that 2025 was not a fluke. 2026, they're here for real, Frank.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, my expectation for them was just to show some sort of competence. Show that you haven't just not played for the last 2 months. Show some ability to compete. I think they did that. I think they had a solid run last night, especially with that new look front line with Pellegrino on the left, Ingvartsen in the middle, and Dreyer on the right. They subbed Alex Mighton in. Now Mighton's more of a winger, but they had him play his striker position last night and scored a goal. So again, as I mentioned at the top of the show, your 4 different goal scorers for San Diego FC, 20 years old, 19 years old, 23 years old, 19 years old.
San Diego FC controlled nearly 73% of the possession from the start. Crisp passing last night and territorial control mirrored their inaugural MLS season style. Goals, however, were missing, and that left the door open. But after Pumas struck first last night, it was the breakthrough. Manu Duas, and the 68th minute, rose above the defense on a perfectly delivered Anders Dreyer corner. Then you had David Vasquez, who nodded a goal, nearly identical sequence to the Dua Anders Dreyer. This time it was from Wilson Eisner corner. And then got the little Vasquez celebration, the knee slide, fireworks, roar of the crowd. I mean, that was like a collective exhale from the faithful down there and the supporters group, of San Diego FC, knowing that, all right, we got the lead, but then the floodgates open. Alex Minkton in the 81st minute followed up a Vasquez header saved by Keylor Navas, and then Luca Bombino in the 86th minute finished the blitz with a clean straight-on strike. Final 18 minutes, total control, total confidence, and total collapse for Pumas, who, as you mentioned, Frank, were on the field for a long time in disbelief of what had happened.
They had not gotten out of the locker room for at least 2.5 hours after the match was over. I'm looking, somebody asked in the chat, Fridge Watcher, I think, asked in the chat what the final stats were, because Fox Sports 1 did not show it. Remember, Pumas is supposed to be a Liga MX giant. Okay, so Pumas is a historic club. They have a great lineage. This is not supposed to be an easy game for San Diego FC. San Diego FC last night won in shots 19-1. Shots on goal 6-1. Possession 73% to 27%. 1 offside for Pumas, none for San Diego FC. 10 corners for San Diego FC. Pumas did not have 1. That is pure, utter domination in all factors of the contest.
Mikey Vars's patience paid off. Emphasized persistence, ball movement, trust in the system. Adjustments after halftime improved finishing and spacing in the box. You saw that in the second half. Set piece was very decisive last night, Frank.
Yeah, absolutely. And they had a couple of deep crosses in. The goal, the cross by Dreyer that set up, I believe it was Mighton's tap-in goal on the far side was great. We've seen Juan Ruiz talking about it in the chat. Eisner's set up for the Vasquez goal was also incredible. I mean, this is the beautiful style of play that you want to see out of this team. And again, just completely dominating possession in the game.
And show the depth that they had too.
Yeah.
4 different goal scorers. Goals came from multiple areas and roles.
2 of them
not
subs.
A single focal point. And by the way, not a single goal by Anders Dreyer.
Nope.
He had a couple of. I think he had 1 assist, if I'm saying, but that was it.
Pellegrino wasn't involved in it much. Ingvartsen wasn't really involved much. Which again, that's going to be a big focal point, I think, this year for San Diego FC. You want to see your strikers get more involved. Your actual striker get involved a little bit more. That was their big problem last year. They couldn't find a striker, and the second they found one, they lost him to the Philadelphia Union. So I want to see what San Diego FC can get out of Ingvartsen if he is, in fact, going to be their number 9 this year.
What does last night mean going forward? Well, they have a massive advantage heading to Mexico City. A 4-1 aggregate led dramatically lead, a 4-1 aggregate lead dramatically shifts pressure onto Pumas now. In order for San Diego FC to lose this particular round, it's got to be a 3-0 victory, if I'm not mistaken, by Pumas, because away goals that are valued more. If San Diego FC scores 1 goal in their next game, they're pretty much a lock unless the floodgates open down in Mexico.
You just can't lose by 3. That's really all you're looking at right now. You cannot lose by 3.
Proof of concept. San Diego FC's possession-heavy style works not just in MLS, but on the continental stage. And here's a lingering question for you, Frank. Can San Diego FC start faster and avoid chasing games against elite competition? That's something that's going to be answered over the next course of the beginning part of this season.
I don't remember them starting off too slow last year, if I'm honest. I mean, they came out like a house of fire last year. I mean, and you're starting the MLS season off at home February 21st, which is a Saturday, against Montreal. That's going to be a very winnable game. St. Louis City, you handled them very well last year. Sporting Kansas City, Dallas, you have a rather favorable start to the season next year if you're San Diego FC. Really, the first game you're really looking at is, oh God, this might actually be a little bit of trouble here, is their game at home against Minnesota United, but that's not until April 11th. So they got some time to really settle in and find some momentum and find their legs this year.
They had a great start to the season. A big win last night for San Diego FC, 4-1 victory over Pumas UNAM. When we come back, this is a big game on Sunday, Super Bowl. Finally give you a preview of that on a Wednesday as we finish up the show on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. We're officially 1 week closer to the 2026 Olympics, and you can feel it across the NHL. Contenders are tightening up, bubble teams are panicking, and the trade market is starting to move before the pre-Olympic roster freeze. Islanders dealing inside the Metro, adding Carson Soucy from the Rangers and Palat from the Devils. That's not a rebuild move. That's a team saying, we're in this thing right now. And with February looming, the NHL schedule loaded with measuring stick games that are going to tell us who's real and who's fooling themselves. You are the local Islanders fan. How do you think about the Islanders deciding to make these moves and try to get themselves part of contention?
I mean, there are moves that, especially later in the season, the Islanders have had a really hard problem, have had a really big problem recently getting goal scoring, and to get guys like Carson Soucy and Andre Palat from out of their own division. I mean, that can only help the New York Islanders as we enter the last week before the Olympic break.
Let's look at the power rankings in the NHL, the first half of the season, if you will. Top of the league, the real contenders right now, Colorado Avalanche, still the standard. Colorado's the best team in hockey, and it's not particularly close. 76% points percentage tells you everything. The Avs aren't just winning, they're dictating how games are played. Their big matchup, February 26th against Minnesota. That's a playoff preview, plain and simple, and Colorado feels inevitable right now.
Yeah, and the Avalanche have been a very, very good team, even from the outset of the season. I believe they were about 6 or 7 games in before they lost their first game to the New York Islanders. But yeah, the Avalanche look poised to get on another Stanley Cup run. The only thing you would caution that is the last couple of years, the President's Trophy winner hasn't really fared all that well in the playoffs. And if there's one sport where that 8 upsetting the number 1 is most prevalent, it's the NHL. So nothing is a given, despite how good a year you may have had.
Here are the other teams that are part of the contenders. Tampa Bay and Carolina on the Eastern Conference collision course. This is a real Eastern Conference Finals type preview. Tampa hasn't gone anywhere. Carolina is ruthless, structured, and deep. Bruins and Lightning in the Stadium Series looks fun, but Hurricanes Lightning on February 26th might be the game that actually matters if you care about June hockey.
Yeah, and that game against that Stadium Series game between the Bruins and Lightning was absolutely crazy. Third period, Lightning are down 5-2. There's a goalie fight, and then Tampa Bay wins in a shootout, 6-5. So it is incredible how good Tampa Bay is, and Carolina has been ruthless over these last couple of years. They are a team that is built for a Stanley Cup for sure.
In the Western Conference side, Dallas and Minnesota built for the long game. Dallas continues to quietly do everything right. Minnesota keeps proving it belongs in the Central's top tier. These are teams nobody wants to see in a 7-game series. goaltending, structure, and patience, February hockey that translates to April.
Absolutely, and especially with everything going on in Minnesota right now, the entire city is behind that Wild team, trying to propel them to a Stanley Cup. So that might be one of the most dangerous, if not the most dangerous team in the Western Conference right now.
Here's the surge and the slide group, the Buffalo Sabres. This is real. Buffalo is officially for real. They've climbed into the Atlantic top 3, and their games against Florida this month are massive. This isn't a fun young team, Buffalo, anymore. This is, we expect to make the playoffs, Buffalo.
Yeah, the Sabres have really turned it around. They've spent so many years. They've had guys like Jack Eichel and Ristolainen come through that team that they were never able to make work, and now they finally have a group that has made the New York Rangers the third best team in New York.
Florida Panthers, dangerous again. The Panthers have climbed fast. The Battle of Florida on February 5th matters a lot, more than people realize. Nobody wants to see Florida as a wild card. Nobody.
No, and you're also getting one of the Kachuk brothers back as well. So that's a big issue for everybody in the Atlantic.
All in or fool's gold for the Islanders. I mean, that's a look at a team that has gone all in, but is it going to burn them?
I don't think so. This team has been very solid. They have their identity. They have their play style under head coach Patrick Waugh. I would be surprised if this comes falling apart for them.
And the last thing for you, the bubble chaos. This might be the messiest playoff race we've seen in years. Montreal, Vegas, Boston, Utah, Anaheim, Los Angeles, San Jose, Seattle, all clumped together. One bad week, you're out. One hot goalie, you're in. I mean, the West wildcard race is going to be absolute carnage. You got Kings and Oilers on February 26th. Matters not just emotionally, but existentially for Los Angeles. Sharks and Blackhawks featuring Celebrini and Bedard. That's the NHL selling the future while chasing the present. Plus, of course, the Anaheim Ducks, who we're paying attention to. That young group has been very scary in so far this season, and big surprise team. Anaheim has arrived early.
Ben Afquack has been kicking in streaks. Unfortunately, those streaks have been followed by long periods where he hasn't been kicking. So the Ducks are a very, very good team, but they still have some growing up to do.
February is about to be ruthless. And then if you look at the bottom of the NHL, Rangers openly selling, Blues flirting with franchise alternating trades, Canucks are in a full teardown mode, Capitals staring down the unthinkable, missing the playoffs after leading the East last season. It's going to be a fun second half of the NHL. Final segment of the Braden Surprenant Show. We're live here in the Bill House Studios in beautiful San Diego, California. What a beautiful February day. Huh? It's like 80-something degrees outside. What's the temperature now? 84. Jesus. We're at the high. Can't wait to get outside. Disgusting. It's great. Hope you guys are all enjoying your wonderful February day.
It is winter's turn.
No, their turn's almost over anyway.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No.
It's almost over.
No, it's not. We saw 30%.
We
saw a shadow. We saw a shadow.
You didn't see nothing. Didn't see anything. Nothing. Didn't see nothing. All right. We haven't really talked about the NFL at all this week, which is funny because it's the Super Bowl week, right? It's Super Bowl 60. Is that what it is? I think it's 60.
Super Bowl LX.
That'd be 60. You not good with Roman numerals?
No.
What kind of Italian are you?
Sicilian.
Don't like Rome. Slightly different. We did get an update, though, by the way. Frank sent this. He told us to be there in break. So we were just talking about Amari Bailey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Former UCLA and Charlotte Hornets guard Amari Bailey has signed with BYU. Bailey is seeking a temporary restraining order that would rule him immediately eligible to return to college basketball. That's according to Scott Hughes College Basketball. He is a credentialed men's college basketball reporter, independent journalist. That's what he is saying. Interesting. If they allow him to play, I don't know why you don't just try to get Luka. If you're a college team. Maybe they can play on 2 teams at once. What's the point of eligibility?
I don't get it, bro. I really don't.
Seriously. What's the point of eligibility for college athletics? Why even have eligibility? What's the point? Make it so they don't have to go to school. Do we think Amari Bailey's going to go to school? Is he going to take any classes?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Student athlete. Student
he gonna
first,
take any classes?
remember?
Alonzo Ball just got traded. It's your boy.
That's cool. Artemi Panarin also got traded today, too, from the Rangers to the Kings. So that just made the Quackers a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, it's all right.
By the way,
another win last night.
And a W
You want to talk about a 4-1 win? I mean, San Diego FC and the Anaheim Ducks were kind of the same last night, except the Ducks scored first. They went up 4-0 and they gave up a goal.
By the way,
it's a good way to finish the first half for the Ducks.
By the way, I've gotten push notifications for Anthony Davis today from ESPN. I've gotten push notifications for Jared McCain getting traded today. I got push notifications on the 2 big trades that happened yesterday. Still waiting on the Alonzo Ball push notification.
I just got it. Alonzo Ball traded and 2 second-round picks to the Jazz.
Well, I haven't gotten it. And my ESPN push notifications are the only ones that matter to me. Yours can say whatever they want.
We haven't heard of this is the last week we play the NFL music. Fire it up. All right, let's preview the Super Bowl. Early preview. I'm sure there'll be more information going out there. We'll do it again tomorrow. But we got the Seahawks and the Patriots on Sunday for Super Bowl Sunday. It's a 3:30 Pacific time kick at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. Seahawks are favored by 3.5. Over-under coming in was 46.5. ESPN Football Power Index gives the Seahawks a 60.2% chance of winning, which gives you a 3.6-point spread. This is a matchup that blends history, coaching philosophy, quarterback volatility. It's a rematch nearly 11 years after Malcolm Butler's goal line interception sealed the Super Bowl, one of the most iconic plays in NFL history. I'm still picturing Richard Sherman's face. No! 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 Run the ball! This is the 10th Super Bowl rematch ever. The Patriots are involved in 4 of those, by the way, most by any franchise. New England returns to the Super Bowl 6 years after the Belichick-Brady era. Seattle is making its 4th Super Bowl appearance. ESPN set this up throughout the context of this particular article that gives us a little bit of a preview. But let's talk about the Seahawks. Seahawks are 14-3 this year, the number 1 seed in the NFC, head coached by Mike McDonald. His quarterback, Sam Darnold. Seattle has quietly become the league's most complete team. Top scoring defense in the NFL, 16.4 points per game allowed. 27 straight games without allowing a 100-yard rusher, which is pretty impressive. And Sam Darnold did join Tom Brady as the only quarterback with back-to-back 14-win seasons. Sam Darnold did it with 2 different teams. Should we put some more respect on Sam Darnold's name, Frank?
For the sake of every Jet fan, no. But yeah, we really should. I mean, this is the guy.
Jets.
And mess. But yeah, Sam Darnold has completely revitalized his career. I mean, he is the guy coming out of USC that everyone thought he was going to be when he got drafted now.
First USC quarterback to make it to the Super Bowl. I can't believe that.
Yeah, that's a number, yeah.
Mid-season pickup of Mount Carmel product. Rashid Shaheed added some explosiveness to the offense and the special teams. It's a big game changer playmaker for the Seattle Seahawks, especially with his elite speed. Turnovers. Here's the concern for the Seahawks. They have 28 giveaways, second most in the NFL. Sam Darnold led the league with 20 turnovers himself. Zach Charbonnet has been lost to an ACL injury, and Sam Darnold is playing through an oblique injury. That is the extent of the worries for the Seattle Seahawks, though. It's not an extensive list against the New England Patriots. Now let's talk about the Patriots.
Yep, now we talk about the Pats.
14-3. number 2 seed in the AFC. Head coach Mike Vrabel. Quarterback is Drake May. This is one of the fastest turnarounds in NFL history, by the way. They went 4-13 last year, and they're now in the Super Bowl in one season. They're the 6th team ever to reach the Super Bowl after 5 or fewer wins the year before. First division title since the Brady era, 2009 to 2019. Drake May.
Drake May?
Drake May.
Drake May.
Drake May? Drake May. Drake May.
Drake May.
He led the NFL in total quarterback rating, 77.1. He has a 72% completion percentage and a 113.5 passer rating and an 8.93 yards per average. Dangerous as both a passer and a runner. Now, the concern, though, is ball security. Both teams turn the ball over, Frank. 6 fumbles in 2 playoff games for the Patriots and Drake May. Very young roster. The roster includes all 11 draft picks from 2025 and 4 undrafted free agents. It's a big stage. It's a very inexperienced roster for the New England Patriots.
Got to learn somehow. You got to learn some way, and that's by getting in the game and actually playing it. So we'll see what happens with these young kids on the Pats. I believe, though. I do believe.
You're rooting for the Patriots?
I believe the Pats are going to take this game. Yeah.
Really? I don't. I think Seattle's going to win by 2 touchdowns. Seattle's defense versus the run has been very impressive. Opponent run success rate, 34%. It's the best in the NFL. EPA per run, negative 0.15, NFL best. Negative 34 first downs over expectation allowed on rushes, according to Next Gen Stats. What does that mean, Frank? You can't run the football in Seattle. What do we say? What wins games in the NFL? What wins games in all levels of football?
Running the ball.
Running the ball.
And making other people not run the ball.
And stopping the run. And the Seahawks are the best at stopping the run. Is it no surprise to anybody that the Seattle Seahawks are in the Super Bowl? Let's talk about the passing offense for the Patriots. Got to be able to run the ball, but they can air it out. They're number 1 in passing EPA per play. Largest pass run efficiency gap in the NFL. Second highest pass rate over expected, plus 4%. New England must live and die with Drake May's arm, and they might have to live and die with Drake May's legs. It's going to be a little bit better of conditions, though, than the snow matchup they played in Denver. Here's some key matchups to pay attention to on Sunday. Jackson Smith and Jigba versus the Patriots quarters coverage. Patriots ran quarters coverage on 19.5% of playoff dropbacks. Smith and Jigba out of the slot creates vertical mismatches versus safeties. 24 catches, 335 yards from the slot this season. This is where offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak can dial up big shot plays. X factors. Seahawks, Rashid Shaheed, the San Diego kid. Threat as a receiver, a runner, and a returner. His big playability does force defensive stress, but not only defensive stress, special team stress. As for the Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson's going to have to have a big game. He is the running back for the New England Patriots. He has 280 yards on 58 touches in the postseason. He's trusted by Vrabel despite inconsistent offensive line play. He's going to have a big day for the Patriots to have a good game because the Seahawks can stop the run. The Patriots offensive line has been beat up. It's inconsistent. If they can run the ball with Ramondre Stevenson, it opens up the door for the Patriots a little bit, but it's going to be tough. They're going against the best run defense in the National Football League. Is Sam Darnold actually better, or is he just protected? That's a big question that's going into the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold's had 2 pretty good years, but the first half of the season, he had a 77.9 QBR. Second half, a 37.4. It drops to 26th in the NFL. Defense improved while Darnold regressed statistically. Is Sam Darnold really playing at a high level, or is his defense bailing him out? That's an area of concern, I would say. But he did get you to this point. I mean, if you're going to this is my whole argument on the quarterback play. If you're going to reward quarterback play as the end-all, be-all, you got to give Sam Darnold some credit. I mean, he did look pretty good in the first half, but is he winning because are they winning despite him or winning because of him? I think that'll be a big question going into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a fun game, but I do believe the Pats have got it.
Early prediction consensus from ESPN. Everybody on their panel picks Seattle.
Good for them.
Take that for what it's worth. We'll talk more about the Super Bowl tomorrow. Quinn and Chris coming up next.